and 94.5 FM, where the pros play. Jason Minix, Rob Thompson, the Blitz.
It is the Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM. If you're on the go, I highly recommend ESPNSA.com. There you can listen to all our podcasts from the Audio Vault, brought to you by AA Best Bell Buns, but you too can watch us live. He's Jason Minix, I'm Rob Thompson. James, pleasure producing us all the way till 7 o'clock. We were going to have kind of an early evening, but college basketball just keeps getting postponed, man. The COVIDs are grabbing college sports by the nuts. It's getting a little scary here. The bubble can't come soon enough. The good news is the NBA continues, and the Spurs take on the Golden State Warriors tonight. A late tip. Jill Jelnick will join us about 6:30 as we do some game night San Antonio, brought to you by the Mellow Mushroom. Jason, this is the time. 'Tis the season for retirements to be offered, careers to be complete. And we watched Drew Brees play what we'll most believe to be his very last football game. Well, it's actually official now. Phillip Rivers is retiring. The one-time Colt, long-time Charger, is going to call it a career. We're going to talk about Phillip Rivers and, his legacy to the league, his Hall of Fame credentials.
And we'll get into it. But I'm going to throw it out now so you guys can chime in on Twitter or on the Kielbasa Bacon phone lines at Rob Thompson, ESPN, at Jason Minix. Is Phillip Rivers a Hall of Famer? Now, I know, on a day that he retires, all the good stuff's coming out, but it created quite a debate between Rob and I and Pledge earlier today. I'm curious what you guys think. Is he a Hall of Famer? I mean, that was a debate. Rob's asked two very serious questions today that have nothing to do with sports. That's not surprising. But they're also kind of debatable. One, how long do you let a donut sit before you eat it? So if you get a box of donuts, how long are they good for? What's the shelf life? And two, do you throw your trash in somebody else's trash can?
Not do you. Is it wrong to throw your trash into somebody else's half-empty trash can if yours is in fact full? That's all. Yes. I just have that question.
Asking for a friend?
Why? We are literally talking about trash. We're literally talking about the end of the road. I mean, after the trash hits the street. It's kind of, you've given up on all of that. Whatever happens, it's out of your hands. After that happens, what's the problem?
See, now, like today's our trash day in our neighborhood. So if you drive around our neighborhood, you got cans all over the place. If you're out walking the dog, and your dog takes a crap in somebody's yard, and you're the kind of guy that's going to take the plastic and you're going to pick that up, are you going to then take that duty-filled plastic and throw it into somebody else's trash can, or are you going to walk around the block with it until you get home to throw it in your own trash can?
I'm throwing their trash can. What are you talking about? It's trash. Is that wrong?
Yes, that is wrong.
What are you talking about?
Yes.
Wrong. I'm not throwing like an uncovered, unwrapped handful of dookie into a can. It would be bagged appropriately. I wouldn't just throw it, but I'm talking about the kind where you bag it and tie it. What's the problem? It's in the trash can. It's not a sacred place. It is there for the disposal of refuse, and I have a handful of steaming refuse. I'm not carrying it around.
You keep your steaming refuse out of my trash can.
That's it. I don't want to open up my trash can and
smell
my
that.
Brothers, in the spirit of the day, January the 20th, Inauguration Day, in the spirit of unity, can't we agree that we can share a trash can?
No, dude, I paid for that.
Out.
No.
So do I. It's not like you, but the thing is, you don't pay exclusively for that guy to show up at your house to take the trash. If you did that, your bill would be much more. It is a defrayed cost that we all share. I pay the same amount. You just happen to have a less full can than me. You didn't pay less because your can was less full. You just pay the same amount. I'm just saying, if I walked out and I have 3 bags and I can only put 2 in my can, and I look over and your can's half empty, would you have a problem if I went and dropped my bag in there? I don't understand why anyone would have any compunction at all. I'm not dumping body parts. I'm not,
see, I don't know that.
Info.
I don't know what you're trying to.
I'm your freaking neighbor. It's
again,
not like I'm just dropping it off. If something happens, you go, it was him.
Charles
I got
Manson
trash.
was somebody's neighbor too.
It's his
I
trash.
got 4 nuns that live across the street from me. You know
So
how
you
tempted I've been over the last year to take my empty beer bottles and put it in their recycle bin just for fun? But I haven't done it.
Nuns. They're. I know some nuns, man. They're ahead of you. They're all right. Throw the beer bottles in there. They're probably drinking a better beer than you are.
But I doubt that. I mean, it's hard to get better than Miller Lite, my friend. Although Yingling is on the way to Texas. But I got a letter in the mail from the great city of San Antonio wanting to fine me for having something inappropriate in my recycle bin. They didn't tell me what I had in my recycle bin that wasn't allowed, and we're pretty diligent. My wife much more diligent than I am when it comes to what goes in there and what doesn't. But here I'm thinking, wait a minute, you're going to fine me for recycling, but you don't tell me, hey, you guys had this in your recycle bin. That's not allowed. I still have no idea what it was, but it kind of pissed me off because it's there. And then I'm like, well, what if one of my neighbors threw something in there by mistake, and now I'm going to get fined for it? So yeah, keep your trash out of my can.
I'm not talking about recycling. I didn't say that. I'm talking about literally trash. The stuff that you have taken to your curb. I just happen to have a little bit more this week. And here's what's going to happen. If I don't get to put it in your can, I'm going to have to leave it up here. And in a couple of days, every varmint for the next 3 or 4 miles is going to come to this bag of trash that I have. And they're going to cross your land.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to do us all a favor.
As long as they're crossing the land and not staying, that's your problem. So what you're saying is when you took your trash out this morning, you had more trash than you had cans.
I took it back up. The plan was such. And see, I'm not in the city. I have to, we pay for a private enterprise to remove our trash. And so most of the people on my particular street, we share the same company. So we share the same trash day. There's a couple that are with an outlier, but most of us have our cans out on the regular basis. And my specific company allows you to have 3 things on the ground.
Okay.
Or 2 of their big cans, one or the other. So I'm trying to be cheap.
Yeah.
Just use 1 can. And it seemed big enough when we began this little process, but it really isn't. So, if we do anything extra, there's just too much. But my neighbors, I noticed this morning, didn't have as much as I did. And I had 2 extra bags. And I thought, what would be the harm? But God forbid they saw me. And I thought, why would they care? I know personally, I would not care. If my neighbor walked and said, hey, man, can I drop this in there? Sure. It's all going to the same place.
So all this talk, and ultimately,
I'm a coward.
You took your trash back to the house.
It's back in the house, and
now
up on something high behind.
I will say this:
there.
If it's trash day, and my trash can is full, and my neighbor's out, and I know the trash guy is going to be there within a couple hours, I'm throwing it in their can because it's not going to be there long enough for them to notice it.
No, I'm literally the trash is coming. I try to time it really closely because there's varmints out here, bear-coons. They live in your attic and take your trash. They will come and get it. So I don't like it to be down by the street.
See, here's all Paul Harvey with the rest of the story. See, I thought you were talking about you see somebody's trash, like the trash can at my street right now. It's empty. The trash guys come by, and so it's going to be at my by the house for another week.
There for you to have to take up to your.
Yeah, I thought that's where you were going with that story. Like here's an empty can. I'm just going to throw my dog's poop in your trash can, and it's going to sit next to your house for a week. No, you can't do that.
No, that's why the castle doctrine was admitted. If you're going to start throwing trash in my house for me to take to my house, now we got issues. No, I'm literally talking about the truck's going to be here in a matter of hours, if not minutes. And I chickened out because one neighbor I really don't know that well. They're relatively new, and that was the one that was half full. I don't want the guy to, what's Thompson doing over there?
Well, I mean, again, if you don't know him, who cares, man? That's a good way to meet your neighbor. You're going to find out a lot about your neighbor real quick.
Well, what is the Robert Frost saying? Strong fences make good neighbors. I mean, we have a strong fence. We're good neighbors. I don't want to cross the barrier of garbage can space theft.
See, he's listening to you right now, and he's probably thinking, dude, I don't care.
I would like to think, because I know that I wouldn't. And it was an ethical question that at the time I didn't have the correct answer for. So now I just have the trash.
But the reality is you would, because you generate a lot of trash. And so you never have extra room. So if somebody were to leave extra bags over by you, then you get the fine for it. That'd be another story.
And another thing, what do you guys do in the city? What do you city folk do with all of your Amazon boxes?
Well, we recycle them.
See, I have a rather significant collection of various sizes of mostly wet and decaying Amazon boxes. Well, I don't let them take up my trash space. I wait for a burn time, and that's
well. You can burn, but you break them down. You put them in the recycle bin. It comes on Friday. And it's weird because
we don't recycle.
Yeah, obviously. And some of us city folks are going to stop recycling if I keep getting letters in the mail saying we're going to fine you for having stuff in there that you're not supposed to, but not tell you what was in there. And here I'm thinking, how the hell do they know? Because it's a truck that comes in, grabs the recycle bin, and the dude never gets out. So how does he know that I had something in my can that wasn't mine?
It's the ring cameras. You've been turned in by the ring police.
Well,
you can't see. That's the other thing. I was thinking just that. I'm on a ring video right now, walking around out here with a bag of trash in my hand, looking at other people's cans. I got to get out of here. That will show up somewhere. So there is video that exists of me putting the trash back in my trunk and driving back up to the house.
Just eat your day-old donut and be quiet.
No, I should have thrown that away too, because it would have been the anchor, the thing that held it on the ground, that kept gravity in play. Because as donuts age, they get heavier.
As they hit your belly, they get heavier.
Nearly 3 pounds. Yes, like I said, the longer a donut hangs around, the more weight is involved. It's an old saying. And let's talk some sports. Phillip Rivers has retired. It's going to be a tough football season next year when we line up and don't get to watch Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers. Let's talk about their legacies and which one will actually deserves to go into the Hall of Fame instead of just a first ballot, maybe a second ballot. Does Phillip Rivers deserve it? We'll talk that. Maddy Skyeline is going to join us. We'll talk with Tim Byres. We're excited about this. Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds has brought to you today a Beard Award-winning chef, a culinary artist, a man that literally changed the scope and scape of barbecuing in our great country. Tim Byres is going to join us a little bit after 6 o'clock as we discuss new and exciting ways to cook with pork rinds. And boy, we're dealing with something fancy today. Pimento cheese is involved in pork rinds and goodness. He's going to join us. So let's get to work. We're coming back talking Phillip Rivers, and we're going to get into some Spurs with Jill Jelnick at the end of the show. Lots to talk about. Hang here. You're on the Blitz. 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com. Do you feel stuck in pain? Do you have something that just is lingering and bothering you and won't go away? Well, if you are, there's a lot of ways to get over it. And the best is Arasti. Arasti providers are all around San Antonio, literally passionate about ending pain in their patients. Now, this is a non-invasive procedure. I'm not talking about surgery. I'm not talking about long-term treatment programs, rehab programs in the worst case scenario. I'm not talking about prescribed medications. I'm talking about a medical professional manipulating your body and ending the skeletal muscle pain that seems to linger so long. So if you've got bad neck or you've frozen shoulder, a bad back like I always have, Arasti can fix it in a remarkably short amount of time. Studies have shown under 4 visits will get you back in the game. And when you go to an Arasti provider, things they're going to accept most insurances, and go ahead and make that call because you don't need a referral to go see an Arasti provider. Here is the number. Write this down. Grab a pencil. 1-800-404-6050. Again, 1-800-404-6050. Let me start over. A great way to find an Arasti provider close to you is go to Arasti.com. It's spelled AIRROSTI.com. There you'll see a list of providers. I'm sure there's so many of them. There's one close to you, probably under 10 minutes. Make that call. Go into a Arasti provider. You're going to feel better. Do not get stuck in living with pain. Get yourself back in the game. Call an Arasti provider today, and I am sure you'll thank me later.
Before the big game February 7th, we'll have Pro Football Playoffs. Join ESPN San Antonio's Pro Football Playoff Challenge at ESPNSA.com and pick each week's winners. Sign up today at ESPNSA.com.
Twin Peaks is your ultimate sports lodge with a menu to match. Pair any of our made-from-scratch menu items with a frosty 29-degree draft beer served by a beautiful Twin Peaks girl, and you're in for a legendary sports watching experience. No one does happy hour like Twin Peaks. Whatever your preference, we have everything from tequila cocktails to extensive bourbon categories to top-shelf spirits and cocktails served over those fabulous ice balls. Local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails, and don't forget about those wonderful 29-degree man-sized drafts. Twin Peaks eats, drinks, and scenic views.
Well, San Antonio, it's official. 2020 is hindsight, and it couldn't happen soon enough. Chip Ingram here from the Roop Home. As 2021 takes over, we're excited for NFL playoffs, the new look Spurs, and the prospect of life without masks and curfews and daily briefings. I want to thank you personally for your support through one hell of a year, and invite you to keep coming back to the Roop Home, located at 281 in Redland Road. See you at the Roop.
Pros bring something extra to every job. Now at the Home Depot, they also get something extra. Pro Extra, our free loyalty program built for pros just like you. Members earn perks with every dollar spent, like Pro Extra dollars, a tool rental credit, and more. New members get $20 off their next in-store purchase of $200 or more just for signing up. Learn more at homedepot.com/Pro Extra. New year, more rewards, Pro Extra, only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
It's time for some straight talk. Look, we all drop our phones. It happens. You fumble it, crack it, splash it. Well, Straight Talk Wireless now offers this new Platinum Unlimited plan that includes phone protection. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data, plus 20 gigs of hotspot, 100 gigs of cloud storage, and more. All on the best network. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Asurion.com/Straight Talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
Introducing Fidelity Income Planning. We look at how much you've saved, how much you'll need, and help you build a straightforward plan to generate income, even when you're not working. A plan that gives you the chance to grow your savings and create cash flow that lasts. Plus, you can start, stop, or adjust your plan at any time. Talk to us today so we can help you go from saving to living. Fidelity Brokerage Services, member NYSE, SIPC.
It is the Blitz. Welcome on to ESPN San Antonio. He's Jason, I'm Rob. Maddy Skyeline will be here in just a couple of minutes. We'll look around San Antonio. Good news coming from Poteet. Strawberry Festival plans in the works.
Cool.
On a cold and dreary day, today feels kind of, we need some strawberries in our life. Phillip Rivers announced his retirement today. One of the many guys that, played one last year and realized, man, I don't know why I did this. He got himself into the playoffs yet again on a team that was nearly good enough, not quite. Had a lot of great throws, but tried to carry the game too often through late interceptions. Finished the way Phillip Rivers should go out. I've enjoyed him. I think he's been a part of the NFL fabric. He's always been in play. His teams have never been awful.
No, and Phillip Rivers, in a lot of ways, was the AFC version of Tony Romo.
Yeah.
Never on a good enough team, make the late mistake trying to do too much. And, the question immediately becomes, is he a Hall of Famer? And I say no. Phillip Rivers was great, but was he Hall of Fame? Were you ever watching Phillip Rivers going, that dude's a Hall of Famer? There's no doubt in my mind he is a Hall of Famer. When you would list the top 5 quarterbacks in the league, he was never in there. He was never a part of that conversation. Always very good, always that next tier. And that next tier doesn't get you into the Hall of Fame.
I argue that it does. I think there's a lot of guys that fill that little quotient of, you're almost there, bro. But for this and but for that, you'd be a shoo-in. I think Phillip Rivers is the next in that line. Whether it be second ballot, whether it be vet ballot, I think if you look at the totality of what the Hall of Fame is, and you looked at the world where Phillip Rivers is in there or without it, I think he fits the parameters. He was competitive every year. He's only been a victim of circumstance. It's not his fault that he was drafted by a terrible franchise that has the ability to hold on to you for 6 years if they want to, if not longer. They can just hold on to you. He wasn't free to leave. And if he'd have been anybody else drafted just slightly different, goes to the Giants like Manning did, or goes to the Steelers like Roethlisberger did, I think the story would have been entirely different. His numbers were better than them.
They were, but he was also in a very pass-oriented offense. And again, you look at, passing numbers and the era in which he is playing, he should have those kind of numbers. And his numbers are incredible, but longevity doesn't get you into the Hall of Fame. No trips to the Super Bowl, no Super Bowl championships. I look at Eli. The only reason why Eli's going in is that dude has won 2 MVPs. Phillip Rivers doesn't have that. He does have 8 Pro Bowls, but he's only been all pro twice. And all pro means in the AFC, there was always at least 3 other quarterbacks that was considered better than him by his teammates.
Well, one of them was Tom Brady.
Well, again.
I mean, but for Tom Brady, the numbers, he is the 5th leading passer of all time. He's got more yards than Roethlisberger, Manning, Elway, Rodgers, who will eventually break it, Warren Moon, Tarkenton. There's numbers up there, guys that are there. I think he belongs with those numbers. He doesn't have the Super Bowl, but I think that exclusion is now no longer an argument. I think as we continue to go on in time, we're realizing that because there's no absolute free agency, and because you are locked in to some extent, sometimes victims of circumstances, we have to make allowances for that. And I think Rivers is the classic example of that.
I just look at him and I never, like Warren Moon. You bring up Warren Moon, you talk about a guy with no Super Bowls. But when you were watching Warren Moon, you knew you were watching a Hall of Famer. I don't know that you could say that about Phillip Rivers. I feel like I said that about Rivers.
I think the reason that we downgrade him, the reason that the definition of him is competitive, but late, he's going to throw an interception and lose the game. That I think, but because every team he was on, he had to do that. He didn't have any talent. He's the modern day Archie Manning. And if you look at him and say he doesn't belong, you cannot argue that Tony Romo does.
Well, again, I mean, you look at Tony Romo, and if you're in the argument that Tony Romo is not a Hall of Famer because of lack of playoff success, then you have to put that same thing on with Phillip Rivers, and Phillip has done it longer. Tony Romo, you can make the argument, considering everything he accomplished being an undrafted guy. There are very few undrafted players as accomplished in the NFL as Tony Romo. So, I mean, that would be an argument that would be in Tony Romo's favor. But, will his jersey get retired by the Chargers? Will he in the Chargers Hall of Fame, in the California Hall of Fame, all that? Yes. The Pro Football Hall of Fame, when they put 5 in a year, I don't see it anytime soon, if ever.
Well, having to deal with Drew Brees certainly probably precludes him from a first ballot, whether it does,
late and then again,
first ballot.
And every year there's going to be somebody else that's going to be there. And while you talk about, he was always up against a Tom Brady during that time frame. Ben's got himself a couple of Super Bowl wins. Other quarterbacks have won Super Bowls and done things while Tom Brady was playing, and Phillip Rivers could never get over the hump. He's very good, but it's not. The Hall of Fame isn't for the guys that are very good. It's for the greatest of the greats.
71,838 passing yards. Not Hall of Fame worthy.
I mean, there's going to be a lot of guys, if you play 17 years in the league in modern football, that's going to have those kind of passing numbers. You can't compare his passing numbers to that of a Troy Aikman or some guy from the 70s where it was a more run-heavy offense. But you think about some of those teams and why they didn't.
We do.
The LaDainian Tomlinson time frame there when they had really good teams. How come they couldn't get over the hump? I mean, even watching the Colts first-round playoff game, that was a good game late, and I'm sitting in my chair waiting for Phillip Rivers to throw the interception to ruin their chances.
Because he's a victim of circumstance. He was the best guy on his team just about every year that he played and didn't get any help. He had 5 coaches. They fired one of his coaches that had gone 14-2. And he is literally bound to be a Charger. I'm not going to hold that against him. I think everything he did despite his circumstances, and that enough is Hall of Fame worthy. And to do it for 17 freaking years, and then go to another it's Hall of Fame worthy, isn't it?
I see. That's right. I mean, great player. Not everybody goes into the Hall of Fame. And I look at Phillip Rivers, and the one thing about him, and while I say he's not a Hall of Famer, I don't know anybody that's going to say a bad thing about him. Everybody in the league has always respected him. They love that he trash talks without cussing. You know, I saw a J.J. Watt tweet earlier today talking about a Phillip Rivers story where they were lining up for a blitz, and he told one of the linebackers that he was out of position for the blitz they were about to run, and he was right. You know, and he's talking trash like that out on the field, which almost reminds me of stuff we heard about Tim Duncan, who is a obvious Hall of Famer. And there's the difference. I never watched Phillip Rivers and thought, man, that dude's going to get a gold jacket. I just never did.
I think the assumption was that he would.
The difference is he's a victim of circumstance. He played against Tom Brady, who's been to 14 straight 14 out of 20 title games. And when it wasn't him, it was Manning. And then Ben Roethlisberger stuck in there like twice.
Yeah, Rob just said that. I mean, I'm with you.
It's a victim of circumstance.
Well, no, he wasn't good enough to beat those guys.
And that's what I'm saying.
Teams weren't.
Therein lies the rub, because I'm not equivocating that he's even remotely in the same neighborhood as Brady. He's not. But I do think if you look at the types of quarterbacks that have gotten in over the years, who have not gotten the Super Bowl championship ring, the validation that a Super Bowl gives you, I think that he stands very favorably with those. And if you argue against him, then you have to argue against so many others that by the esteem and by the time were certainly Hall of Fame worthy. And
well, like, again, winning a Super Bowl doesn't get you in. Joe Flacco, not a Hall of Famer. Trent Dilfer, not a Hall of Famer. Jim Plunkett's got 2. I don't believe he's in yet. You know, so I mean, you look at it,
but it does catapult many.
It does. It will catapult Eli into the Hall of Fame and his last name. And the fact that he was doing it in New York and he knocked off Tom Brady twice, including ruining the undefeated season. He's a great player, always has been a great player, not a Hall of Famer.
We will find out in 5 short years as Phillip Rivers has offered his retirement. I wonder who they're going to fill with that little spot. We'll also have to look at that.
He's going to make the list a whole bunch of times as a finalist, but will he get the knock on the door from David Baker?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. Well, we will certainly see. It's certainly worthy of discussion. The Hall of Fame stuff's always fun. Good news, if you're a Mahomes fan, he practiced. Bad news is that's part of the protocol. We'll see. We'll talk about that in a bit. But Maddy Skyeline is going to join us next as we look around San Antonio. And tough news and good news coming out of the Astros camp. Michael Brantley, he ain't going anywhere, evidently. And, Springer, he gone. We're going to talk some Astros as well. Hold on tight. Maddy Skyeline coming around the corner. You're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
You know, injuries do happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need to know about the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. Now, you don't have to be an athlete to make the athlete's choice. If you've got a minor sprain or a compound fracture, any kind of injury in between there, TSAOG Orthopedics has got you covered. Now, not all injuries require surgery. Dr. David Espinosa treats all non-operative orthopedic injuries, and he does concussion baseline testing. There's no reason for you to be in pain. If you're hurting, you need to know about the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. Telemedicine services are available through OrthoConnect. The Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. Go to their website, tsaog.com. That's tsaog.com.
Sundays are for the grill. The Sunday Sports Grill, 11 in the morning to 1. Chop it up and grill with former and current Rock the Mic champs Michael Jimenez and Quinn Hudson. The Sunday Sports Grill, 11 to 1 every Sunday.
Sports Center is brought to you by Kielbasa Slow Crafted Sausage, available at your local grocery stores.
You know, in San Antonio, we have some of the hardest water in the country. Now, if your water has a bad taste or odd smell, you need to call Alamo Water Softeners. Jason Minix here. I've had a water softener in my home from Alamo Water Softeners for years. Wouldn't live without one. If you are already an Alamo Water Softeners customer, take advantage of their New Year special. Trade in or up on select systems and get up to a $400 credit. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference at alamowatersofteners.com. That's alamowatersofteners.com.
Hurt in an accident and dealing with hospital bills? Thomas J. Henry will help you with medical bills while we work on your case. Start your claim today at tjhlaw.com/radio. That's tjhlaw.com/radio. San Antonio, Texas.
See the best of the best, the area's top high school senior players in the San Antonio Sports All-Star Football Game, presented by H-E-B, January 30th at Hero Stadium. Current NFL pros Marcus Davenport and Josh Reynolds played here. It's the San Antonio Sports All-Star Football Game, 2 p.m. January 30th. Tickets just $10 in advance or $15 on game day. On sale at sanantoniosports.org. Sponsored by H-E-B, the U.S. Army, P&G, and Zero, Whataburger, Frost, Thomas J. Henry, and Generations Federal Credit Union.
This football season, more than any other, we're all reflecting on the wonder years of football. And in celebrating the heart of America's favorite sport, we've got a bold snack that'll help rekindle some really great memories. Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds have the bold flavors you crave, like Korean kimchi barbecue, pasilla chili cheese, spicy dill, and more. Get them at H-E-B. Because, hey, pigskins and pigskins, they go together. Visit porkrinds.com to see how you can win $5,000 when you celebrate Pork Rind Appreciation Day with Southern Recipe Small Batch.
Slackers Sports and Arcade Bar, now with 4 San Antonio area locations, all open and all practicing strict social distancing guidelines. Come eat, drink, and enjoy safely at all 4 Slackers Sports and Arcade Bar locations. And get over to the newest location, Slackers Medical Center, now opening at 7 a.m. to serve our valued medical community. Nurses, doctors, frontline workers, and staff, we thank you. Slackers Medical Center, located at Fredericksburg and Medical Center, now open at 7 a.m. Visit slackersbarssa.com for more info.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Every player matters, and finding the right person can make all the difference.
In 1999, the Indianapolis coach traded Marshall Falk to the St. Louis Rams for a 2nd and 5th round pick. The move helped transform the Rams offense into one of the most dynamic in the history of the NFL. They became known as the greatest show on turf. Falk won the NFL MVP in 2000, and the Rams went on to reach 2 Super Bowls, winning Super Bowl 34.
Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
When scouting talent, teams use all the tools at their disposal to determine the best fit for their rosters. LinkedIn Jobs works that way for your business. Post a job with targeted screening questions, and LinkedIn will quickly get your role in front of qualified candidates. Manage job posts and contact candidates from a single view, as functions are streamlined onto one simple screen. And now you can post a job for free at linkedin.com/sports. That's linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
We, the Blitz, will bring to you the best look of the city view. It
is the Blitz.
Skyline. Yeah, it's time for Maddy
Welcome on to
Skyeline.
ESPN San Antonio. A little bit of sunshine on a dreary, cold day. Maddy Sky of MySA.com joining us for her regular. How are you today, Maddy?
I'm doing good. How are you all?
Doing well. Busy day. Yeah, busy day in the life of an Express News reporter, huh?
Yeah, as usual. It's always a busy day, but especially busy with the inauguration, very historic inauguration happening today, obviously. So yeah, trying to find some local ties to the inauguration, and we found one in Kamala Harris. She has some local sorority sisters here with Alpha Kappa Appa. There's a presence for the sorority on both on both the graduate and undergraduate level here locally. And so they are very excited and had some more wishes for her. So I was able to touch base with them, and we got a story out on that. So it's always exciting when you find those local ties to something national like that.
Is Alpha Kappa Alpha, is that a social sorority or is that a business sorority?
Social? Scholastic?
I know there's both types. I was just curious. Maddy Sky joining us here on ESPN.
I thought they were all social, Rob, to be honest.
No, there's business fraternities.
Honestly, yeah.
I mean, none that would have me, but I hear
Are
tell
those
that they're
tied
awfully
to-
nice.
Are those tied to colleges, or they're just
Through, yes. We're going down the wrong road. I was just asking a question about Kamala. It is really awesome. In fact, today was really a remarkable day. In writing the many stories that you had to about this today, what do you think the viewership was here in San Antonio? Do you think a lot of people stopped and took some time to watch the 46th inauguration?
You know what's different about this inauguration as opposed to any of the ones before is that there's so many people working from home. and that you're able to just stop and watch TV while you're working. So I think and of course too, because supporters were urged not to go to the Capitol. So really the biggest way to watch was on TV. And it just so happened we're all in the prime position to just sit at the dining room table and have your laptop open and work and watch it at the same time. So yeah, scrolling through Twitter today was pretty funny because there were so many side stories. There was Michelle Obama's outfit. There was the spouse of Kamala Harris's niece wearing the Christian Dior Jordans, which I didn't even know existed until today. And I think it was so funny to how Twitter was so quick to figure out who exactly this person was. So all the side stories on Twitter were really funny to watch play out. Of course, Bush finding Michelle Obama right away. There's that whole storyline about Michelle Obama and Bush's friendship at these types of events. And that was funny too. So yeah, I think that played a big part in how different this inauguration was. Most people are working from home.
Yeah, it's a good point. I hadn't thought about it in that way, but yeah, I mean, you think about viewership. It was kind of strange seeing it without the thousands and thousands of people that you normally see in Washington, D.C. for an event like that. But I thought it was well done. Lady Gaga, that was impressive. I'm waiting for the Foo Fighters to come on and do their part. But even Garth Brooks, it was amazing how they, are still doing some of the parts of it that, quite frankly, I didn't think we were going to see because of the pandemic.
True. So the question I haven't really kept up with the scheduled events. Are they still having the inauguration ball or the inaugural ball?
Oh, no, I don't believe there's anything like that at all. No, not at all. Let's not leave out J-Lo. I thought she killed it. I thought J-Lo was surprisingly good. And Garth Brooks, bless you, man. That was moving. That was pretty remarkable. And I do think that we all shared in our own quiet space this communal feeling, though we all were sitting alone watching. It was a very unique feeling.
My favorite part was the poetry, for sure.
Oh, yes. And while it didn't feel shared, it felt individual. It felt like that I was drinking it in by myself, and we all took it in our own way, and then we shared it communally. That's a very unique thing that we're going to see ripples about.
Definitely, especially after the year that we've all endured.
Extraordinary. Maddy Skyeline joining us here on ESPN San Antonio. Let's talk about San Antonio for a bit. Good news coming out of Poteet. The Strawberry Festival's got plans full speed ahead, though it's going to be a little bit different.
Yeah, I wish I knew more about that. Honestly, I have emailed out to organizers, haven't had a chance to get a hold of them on what their COVID protocols are, but it seems like they're rolling full steam ahead. They have all the social media advertising that they are going forward with April 9th through the 11th, I believe, which the Poteet Strawberry has also always been this unofficial precursor to Fiesta. But I don't see how that's going to play out. I don't know if there's going to be a drive-through event. They were kind of skimpy on the details. And so all we know is that tickets are coming soon, and April 9th through the 11th, if you're interested in strawberries. And of course, there's no word on whether it's like counterparts in Fiesta or Warfest are happening this year. I think that those are much larger scale events, and there's different considerations for those. But
I think they're still going to be scaled back. But what's encouraging is, with they're not just scrapping it. I think that's a sign that, with a lot of vaccines now available and more people getting the vaccine, when we get to April, maybe we'll be farther down the road to where you can have an event like this. There's no reason just to punt on it now. We're not giving details because everything is fluid right now. There's nothing set in stone. It's almost like what the rodeo was doing. All right, we know we're going to move it to Freeman Coliseum. It felt like 2 weeks ago they were still planning to have the carnival until they realized, okay, the carnival, that's the easy thing to scrap. So we're going to leave it on there until the last minute. And then if we got to punt the carnival, we'll punt the carnival, which they did. But the other aspects are going on. I think it's encouraging that the Poteet Strawberry Festival is saying, hey, man, we're still planning to move ahead, knowing if they have to pivot later, they can pivot later. But there's no reason to punt now when it looks like there might be the ability to pull this thing off, even if it is a reduced version, but something that's a little more normal than what we would have seen a year ago. I like that. I like the idea that, hey, man, we're planning. It's just nothing in concrete, but it looks like we might be able to pull this thing off.
All I want is a medal and a pickle beer. Will those be involved at some point in the next couple of months? That's the only things that I care about.
Segue.
You are
That
so
was a great
easy,
segue.
Rob. Yeah, professional too.
So on those fronts, yes. I thought it was encouraging too that Spurs give the official nonprofit, or the official nonprofit of the Spurs released their medal ahead of whatever happens this year, the 2021 medal, which is a tiny replica of the Spurs Fiesta jersey. So that is out, and pre-orders are being accepted until February, I think. And then Freetail Brewing released another pickle beer for all you pickle beer fanatics. I cannot say that I am
okay.
one.
All you, I mean, for him. Should that be the way you say for that guy? Yeah. I've had a pickle beer one
for
time.
That guy. Did you like it?
I'm not going to say I don't like it. I'm just going to say I don't get the allure.
You didn't like it.
I'm a big
it's okay
pickle
to
fan.
say that.
I love pickles, but from the most part, they're a little too vinegary for me. But I interviewed the president of Freetail yesterday, and he told me that they really worked hard to make sure, the brewers really worked hard to make sure this ingredient list was all natural and that the vinegar didn't overpower the taste of the beer. And so it has a small burst, is what he said, of pickle juice.
A small burst? That sounds like a pickleback shot.
Oh, I hate those. My brother loves those.
Well,
I hate them too, but if you put them in front of me, they're going to disappear. I mean, it's just one of those things.
If you put them in front of me, I will disappear. I will run to the restroom. I'll run away.
I'm a pleasant date. I'm a pretty nice guy to be around, but I'm even a better guy to be around after I've had a big plate of, say, some kind of garlic pasta and a couple of pickle beers to kick it back with. I'm a real joy to be around, especially in a small, closed-in area.
Oh, girl.
That just sounds. I mean, that's just why would I put? I had a coach one time that was a firm believer that pickle juice. You drink pickle juice, not only will you never cramp up again, but you won't ever die. I mean, he loved pickle juice, and it was gross, man. I think from that point on, just the very thought of kicking back an icy cold, bubbly can of pickle juice, that's like a penalty. It's like I failed in beer pong, and I got to down this now.
It's more punishment than enjoyment. I'm with you. Just the thought of a pickle beer does nothing for me.
It is.
Have you had a Rasta drink at Bar America? Those are really good. They have pickle juice in them.
See, it's an acquired taste, I'm sure. It's certainly not for me. Now, there's one last thing I want to talk about. How much did you contribute to the MySA's article on the best sandwiches in San Antonio? And if you did, what did you contribute?
I wrote the story.
Okay. So did you contribute a sandwich of yours, or did you just poll others?
So,
I want to know what your personal favorite is.
This was a national list of food and wine. Are you talking about the food and wine story? The best sandwiches in the U.S., and then they narrowed in on Texas.
Yes.
That one.
Sure.
Okay, so
go with
food
it.
and wine, out of the entire state, found that San Antonio had the best sandwiches. And not only sandwiches, they were very specific in tortas. And so they mentioned Rojo, pork and bread, and El Chivito, which is right by Wonderland of the Americas, as being the best sandwiches in Texas when you're talking about the whole United States. So San Antonio is home to the best.
What kind of sandwiches were they? What kind were they making?
They were torta. I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong. Tortas ahogadas. So they're sauce-soaked tortas sandwiches, and you can fill them with carnitas, pork. There's even vegan options. They just said those two restaurants are the best for. Yeah, it sounds delicious. So I definitely have to go get this. Go check those out. I'm sure their lines are pretty long now that they've gotten some national spotlight, or I would hope so. So, yeah.
We could get into the whole debate as to what exactly a sandwich is, but we won't go down.
Well, they had some very firm lines in food and wine. They said no barbecue, nothing that would resemble a taco sandwiches. And tortas are sandwiches, so.
Truly, two pieces of bread with something in between the bread, not wrapped around, but in between. Mm-hmm. Is that the cleanest definition we can come up with? That's worth another discussion on a whole other day. Maddy Sky, thanks for joining us on a dreary day, a little burst of sunshine. Check all of her stuff at mysa.com. She's a busy beat reporter. Keep putting stuff out. Content is king with Maddy Sky. Take care of yourself, Maddy. We'll talk next week.
Thanks, guys.
Maddy Sky at mysa.com. Always a pleasure to catch up and find out all the things that are going on in San Antonio. And as we get more of those shots out, more and more things are happening, and Maddy will be here to make sure we're aware. Springer be gone. Toronto picks up an Astro favorite. Rough news, but you get a Michael Brantley. He didn't leave. Let's talk some Astros real quick. Hold on tight. You're on the Blitz. 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
If you're having issues at the house with your plumbing, your heater, your AC, you know there is one company to call, and that is Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heating, and AC. You know, I've used Quarter Moon many times throughout the years, especially at the old house with plumbing issues that I had over there. I'm on their maintenance plan with my AC unit. They're a fantastic company to work with. They're full service. Big job, small job, residential or commercial. Their service trucks, they're fully stocked. They got all the equipment needed for any job. They have a great experienced staff that isn't a commissioned sales reps. They'll provide estimates. They'll provide second opinions. They have an A+ ranking with the Better Business Bureau. There truly is no better company to call if you're having issues at the house. Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heating, and AC. 210-651-5899 is the phone number. 651-5899 or online, quartermoonplumbing.com.
The ESPN San Antonio 10K Payday. This hour's winning word is
bright.
Enter that word now at ESPNSA.com. Another reason it pays to listen to ESPN San Antonio all day, every day.
Great cash, homie. Twin Peaks is your ultimate sports lodge with a menu to match. Pair any of our made-from-scratch menu items with a frosty 29-degree draft beer served by a beautiful Twin Peaks girl, and you're in for a legendary sports watching experience. No one does happy hour like Twin Peaks. Whatever your preference, we have everything from tequila cocktails to extensive bourbon categories to top-shelf spirits and cocktails served over those fabulous ice balls. Local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails, and don't forget about those wonderful 29-degree man-sized drafts. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, and scenic views.
For the ones who know that a little late is always too late, and that the clock doesn't stop just because you're missing a part, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry. And our Keep Stock inventory management solutions help ensure you have the right stuff in the right place at exactly the right time. Visit Grainger.com/keepstock to learn more. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
2021 marks the 35th anniversary of the American Eagle Coin Program, and these historic silver coins will never be the same again. Why?
The U.S. Mint has unveiled new designs for the 2021 American Silver Eagle coins, scheduled to appear mid-year.
This means now is your last chance to get an American Silver Eagle coin with the original Eagle design.
The American Eagle coin series has become the best-selling coin series in the world.
Act fast or miss your opportunity to own the last year of this historic Silver Eagle coin design.
Just call govmint.com at 1-800-520-6468 and you're guaranteed a shiny, new, perfect mint condition American Eagle silver dollar.
Get them now before time runs out.
Call 1-800-520-6468 now, and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, free with every order.
This exclusive offer is only available by phone. Call 1-800-520-6468 now to secure your American Eagle silver dollar coins before the current design ceases production. That's 1-800-520-6468.
Paid for by Asset Marketing Services, LLC.
This Saturday, DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the UFC, is offering new players a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with first deposit. Fantasy MMA is easy to play. Just pick 6 fighters, stay under the salary cap, and pile up points for advances, takedowns, and more. Download the DraftKings app and use code CJR to get a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes throughout the weekend. That's code CJR. Only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
It's time for some straight talk. Look, we all drop our phones. It happens. You fumble it, crack it, splash it. Well, Straight Talk Wireless now offers this new Platinum Unlimited plan that includes phone protection. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data, plus 20 gigs of hotspot, 100 gigs of cloud storage, and more. All on the best network. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Asurion.com/Straight Talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
It's the Blitz. In the 5 o'clock, we're looking at the Spurs. They got the Warriors tonight. Spurs have a winning record, sit right in the middle of the playoff pack. That's just some stuff to talk about, that's all. Looking forward to the Tiger King getting released. What a letdown that was.
Well, the fact that he didn't get out. They had everything ready, and Trump said, nope, he stays in the cage.
You try to please some people, and there's an opportunity to do right by somebody, and you just don't take advantage of it. We could have had some Tiger King talk today, but we will not. Jill Jelnick will join us at 6:30 as we do look forward to that San Antonio Spurs game. Game night San Antonio brought to you, as always, by the Mellow Mushroom. Tough news with the Astros, and it's been kind of buried behind the turmoil with the Texans and the James Harden exit. But the Astros, they were going to go through some tough times, and there was a lot of folks when the season ended that were pretty sure what was going to happen did happen, that George Springer was going to leave, and he did.
He did. And again, 6-year, $150 million deal with the Toronto Blue Jays. That didn't surprise me. While I'm bummed, I mean, you take a great homegrown player like George Springer, you don't want to see him go. But I anticipated it. I expected it. So when he did leave, all right, that wasn't the bombshell. 6 years, 150. Come on, Houston, you could have come up with that. I think, I thought he was going to get, one of those 8 to 10 year deals. But again, though, I mean, they can't pay everybody. And, you steal a couple of signs and you get rewarded with a 6-year, $150 million contract. I mean, I'm happy for George Springer. I'm not surprised that he left. I was a little surprised that there was another one on the way out with him, but the Astros are able to keep him.
Yeah, Michael Brantley opted to stay with the Astros instead of actually signing with the same Blue Jays. I wonder if Springer's upset that they can't split the U-Haul now. Like, hey, dude, I thought we were going together. We're going to take turns driving the van all the way up to Canada. It'll be a little road trip before spring training, and now you're backing out. How uncool is that?
You just signed a deal for 25 million loonies a year. That's about 12 million American dollars. So you can afford the U-Haul.
Bro, it'd be a nice U-Haul.
It'd be a really nice U-Haul.
Bros driving the U-Haul to Canada, man. They'd make a little documentary, a little Netflix series.
I don't think they're actually driving the U-Haul.
Do you think there's a weird story behind Michael Brantley saying he was leaving and then coming back? Or was it just last best offer?
I think it was last best offer or the Astros matched. I think, the Astros knew they weren't going to be able to afford to keep George Springer, but they didn't want to lose them both. And my guess is the dollar amount was close to the same, and that's where the tax implications in Texas and all that other stuff certainly come into play. If you're looking at a fairly even deal, or if they match the deal, you're going to make more in Houston than you are in Toronto. Losing one outfielder you can live with. You can't lose them both, and they didn't.
I'm just so glad that the stink of stealing signs didn't stick to them. That, that way that they performed this utter theft and changed Major League Baseball forever, a stain on the game for cheating. I'm just glad that it didn't shorten their careers or anything. Oh, is that still a thing? Are we still worried about the stealing signs? Can we stop talking about it now that guys are still getting paid for the numbers that they put up while they were supposedly cheating?
Well, only the people that hate the Astros, for Astro fans, we don't care. I mean, because everybody else is doing it too. I mean, but again, you look at it and yeah, I mean, he got rewarded. But George Springer last year in the shortened season, of all these sign stealers, did actually put up the best numbers. They do look a little bit more natural than say Altuve in the numbers he put up, or even Carlos. So. It's certainly there, but yeah, nobody cares. And obviously baseball doesn't care, or he wouldn't have a 6-year, $150 million deal.
Yeah. I think we can put it to bed. My DVR not long ago just started recording Ken Burns' Baseball, that anthology. I think he did back in the 90s. And it's, typical Ken Burns, long, slow, plodding, historical story of baseball. And in the very first episode, and this was back in the 90s, right in the middle of roid rage, deep ball mania, and this was going on. And he quotes the earliest of baseball types, and cheating was part and parcel to the game back then. And it put things so much in perspective for me as a baseball guy, to the extent I never played the game. I watched a lot of people that played the game, but I personally never was part of any of this. So I always just heard about the lore and was told, cheating, my gosh, it's like golf. You judge a man by how no, that's not how you judge a man in baseball. You judge him by how far he got away with it. That's how you judge him, and appropriately so. So I'm glad it didn't stick. Go get paid, my brother. Now let's talk about the Stros in general. Now they hold on to Brantley. Are we in the midst of a little bit of a concerning period here for the next 2 years with the Astros, or are you feeling a little bit more feeling okay because you expected Springer to go anyway?
Well, you expected Springer to go. You got some young guys coming up. I mean, really it's the pitching staff that concerns you more than anything is, you think about the World Series and your two top pitchers from, that series are no longer on the roster. And, what are they going to be able to go get? Quite honestly, we know they're going to be good offensively. They're going to be good. It comes down to the pitching staff.
As it always seems to do. Hey, good news for Kansas City Chief fan. Patrick Mahomes practiced today. The Cowboys hired a defensive line coach. Got that. And the family ties just continue. You bring in one coach and it seems like everybody just seems to follow from a previous coach's locale. Another Atlanta Falcon arriving on the Dallas Cowboy 40 acres. The Star just chock full of those dirty birds. We'll look at what the Cowboys has done. At 6 o'clock, we're excited about this. Wednesdays are our night to visit with Mark Singleton of Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds. And the fact of the matter is, it's a great way to talk cooking amongst guys looking forward to eating good stuff in a keto-friendly way. Well, we're going to be joined by the guy that actually provides most of the recipes. Tim Byres, he is a Beard Award-winning chef, one of those guys that I don't know how to describe what the Beard Award is for folks that aren't into the foodie scene, but that's like the Heisman. The Heisman, yes. It is literally the highest award a chef can achieve in a variety of categories, and his specialty, quite frankly, is barbecue and cooking over open flame. And, man, we've had a chance to eat some of his delicious helpings, and it's spectacular. He's going to join us at 6, and it's a great opportunity to sit with your device and see what he's doing and kind of pick the brain of a Beard Award-winning chef doing things that you do on a regular with ingredients that you can find at H-E-B, like Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds. And we're doing something called a croquette today, so we can stick out our little pinky and discuss fancy food that involves deep fried pimento cheese and pork rind. Yeah, that's a croquette. Who'd have thought? I had no idea.
Do you got to do the pinky? The croquette?
A croquette. Tim Byres joins us, Beard Award-winning chef. We're doing some stuff with Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds. Phillip, I almost said Mahomes. Phillip Mahomes didn't retire. He practiced. Phillip Rivers, he's not going to practice anymore. He's going to go ahead and retire. We're going to talk a lot about Phillip Rivers. But on the other side, the Spurs and the NBA playoff bound. A month into the season, Sports Illustrated has some very kind words about our San Antonio Spurs and Pop specifically. We'll get into it next. Hang on tight because you're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Jason Minnick.
Getting ready for the hangover without the headache. The Saturday Morning Hangover. Saturday mornings 9 to 11. James Pledger and Jack Thompson bring you the latest on the Cowboys, Spurs, Texans, Longhorns, Aggies, Red Raiders, Roadrunners, and more. Check out the Saturday Morning Hangover. Saturday mornings 9 to 11. 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
See, that's a good test of the brakes right there, that it stopped fast enough to crash into the promo. No. So you maybe we need to send that over to newbrakes.com, nubrakes.com. New Brakes is a mobile brake shop. They will come to you to fix your brakes. And at New Brakes, they've made getting your brakes repaired easy, convenient, and affordable because they're going to come to your house. They'll come to your office, wherever you're going to be for about an hour, and they are going to fix your brakes. And they only fix brakes. Most repairs take less than an hour. They use premium brake parts and back all those repairs with a 24-month, 24,000-mile warranty. Go read all their 5-star reviews. You think about getting your brakes done. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wakes up and says, all right, let me go spend 5 hours today waiting at the brake shop while my brakes get done. See, New Brakes eliminates that because they're going to come to your house. You can continue watching the movie. You could have watched the inauguration while getting your brakes fixed. They have Saturday, Sunday appointments. So if you want to watch the game, get your brakes fixed at the same time, you can do that. Heck, take a nap. Doesn't matter. New Brakes is going to come to you. It's very convenient, easy, affordable. If your brakes are bad or you think they're going bad, go to newbrakes.com, nubrakes.com. Cold, wet weather can be hard on your brakes. You're driving around on the roads today, maybe taking a little longer than you think it should to stop. You're a little worried that your brakes aren't going to work properly. They're going to fail you. Go schedule your appointment today at nubrakes.com. Save 10% when you mention my name or ESPN San Antonio at newbrakes.com, nubrakes.com. You know, in San Antonio, we have some of the hardest water in the country. Now, if your water has a bad taste or odd smell, you need to call Alamo Water Softeners. Jason Minix here. I've had a water softener in my home from Alamo Water Softeners for years. Wouldn't live without one. If you are already an Alamo Water Softeners customer, take advantage of their New Year special. Trade in or up on select systems and get up to a $400 credit. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference at alamowatersofteners.com. That's alamowatersofteners.com. Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds has teamed up with Coach Ditka's Gridiron Greats Assistance Fund once again, helping heroes from the gridiron who are in dire need. They'll be celebrating Pork Rind Appreciation Day by giving away $5,000 and other incredible prizes. Plus, you could win a rare one-on-one conversation with a Pro Football Hall of Famer. And let me tell you, that's pretty awesome. Enter at porkrinds.com and pick up your favorite flavor in the snack food aisle at H-E-B.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
It's time for some straight talk. Look, we all drop our phones. It happens. You fumble it, crack it, splash it. Well, Straight Talk Wireless now offers this new Platinum Unlimited plan that includes phone protection. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data, plus 20 gigs of hotspot, 100 gigs of cloud storage, and more. All on the best network. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Asurion.com/Straight Talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
Do not hire Franklin & Sons Electrical. The guy told me he'd shrink my monthly bill, and I'm like, dude, it's too small to read as it is.
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
Then he's like, where's the circuit breaker? I'm like, bro, I didn't break anything.
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial auto and business insurance.
He told me I had a blown fuse. It's called a short fuse, and yes, I do have one, so watch yourself.
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
For everything Dallas Cowboys.
Touchdown Cowboys!
1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM. Where the pros play. KZDC San Antonio. Jason Minix, Rob Thompson, The Blitz.
It is the Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, on the go at ESPNSA.com. Thank you so much for dialing us in. Don't mind them brake lights. We'll get you home beyond till 7 o'clock. This fantastic radio hour will encompass retired quarterbacks, their status in the league, and their place in the history and lore of the NFL. We'll talk for Phillip Rivers. Tough news for the Tiger King. We broached some news that we thought was real. We hoped it was. But it wasn't. We really did. The possibilities were just about endless, and the circle would have been complete if the Tiger King had been released. But he wasn't. We're going to look at some of the other pardons and some pardonable offenses that you can get through. But first, let's talk some San Antonio Spurs. And by the way, at 6:30, Game Night San Antonio begins. Jill Jelnick join us for her regular stint on Game Night San Antonio as we look forward to a Golden State game. I wouldn't call it a prove-it game, but I think the rest of the NBA is looking at the San Antonio Spurs, wondering with one eyebrow up, how can you have a winning record and lose to the Houston Rockets with a bunch of G League players? Riddle me that, Greg Popovich.
You know, it's one of those questions. And, of course, tonight's game against Golden State, in which they are unveiling a brand new court, will be a matchup of two teams that have actually beaten the Los Angeles Lakers this year in L.A. There's not many teams that could say that, but these two have. This is kind of one of those games where you go, okay, Rob Thompson keeps telling me this is a playoff team. I think I'm going to find out tonight how much I think this can be a playoff team.
I'm going to take this from Sean Powell. Sean Powell is a writer that has a piece on NBA.com right now. 15 takeaways from the first month of the NBA season. And we go through the likes of Christian Wood and the expansion and growth we've seen in this game with the Rockets, the way the Pelicans have been playing. LeBron's still the man. But then we get to Greg Popovich, one of the 15 thoughts. And this is something that, a San Antonio fan, we always kind of think about. but I don't think we've put it in context quite the way Sean did. I'll just give you a little quote from it. One of the more understated events in the NBA is happening in San Antonio, where a coach who turns 72 next week isn't allowing a few generation gaps to separate himself from his players. Greg Popovich is getting older, and a new core of the Spurs is as young as ever, and yet the player connection with Pop remains pure. It is a testament that a 72-year-old Doc Brown-looking head coach is communicating on a very regular basis with the likes of Lonnie and Keldon, with the likes of, these young guys that are of not just the next generation. We're a couple of generations removed. And yet Pop is as pure and as clear and as approachable and apparent as he ever has been, with now yet another generation of great basketball players.
Well, I think a couple of things. One, we have seen this happen throughout his time, from when he fired Bob Hill and they were playing in the Alamo Dome and moved to the SBC Center, now the AT&T Center, where it used to be the linchpin was defense and threes were bad, always try to go for the two. We've seen the game change, and we've seen Greg Popovich change with it. But it is his ability to connect with these guys, to be more than just a father figure to a lot of them. I mean, I would imagine some of these guys would have a hard time connecting at this point with, say, a Tim Duncan or a Manu Ginobili. In fact, Patty Mills, who passed Manu on one of the stat sheets the other day, and Manu congratulated him on Twitter, and Patty's response was, "Thanks, Grandpa, miss ya." Yeah, you know what I mean? There is that, but it is Pop's ability to connect on a human level first, and that's always been one of his great strengths as a leader, as the coach of this basketball team, is he connects with them first on a human level. We've heard the stories, like Lonnie Walker most recently. He gets drafted, shows up in San Antonio. They're at that restaurant down in the Pearl, and there's stuff on that menu that Lonnie's never heard of. And he's not sure what Pop is ordering for him, but he's trusting Pop isn't going to put something in front of him, where he probably, and I'm just kidding here, but, most of us, you're out with a college kid, they're going to order chicken nuggets if they don't know what's on the menu, because it's the only thing that looks familiar, right? But he starts that bonding process there. Over dinner, not on the basketball court.
But he's not the same guy that he was.
No.
We saw very recently in the Tony Parker interview, both the Netflix propaganda film, and the also the book that was recently released, where Parker went into great depth about, first of all, he appreciated being coached hard, but Coach Popovich was incessant, to the point where Tim Duncan at one point had to stand up and tell Pop, "That's enough, man. You can't continue to just destroy Tony Parker as a point guard in film sessions. This guy, I've got to play with him. That's enough. Let's go get it done." And I think that Pop, while it was effective for Tony, you can't coach that way anymore, at least not very many players. So he doesn't do that, and he finds another way to motivate a 20-year-old kid at 72. It continues to be a remarkable story, and it's predicated on the fact that the Spurs sit at 8-6 right now, and their wins are good, and their losses are worse. It's a very strange team as they sit, having taken down the Trailblazers and taken down the Clips and taken down the Lakers as 3 of the 8 wins that they've gotten, and looked very good while doing it. But at the same time, we got a Minnesota Timberwolves game and a Houston Rocket game where you see truly youth being disserved. So we sit at 8-6. Is this a kind of a first of many prove-it games to the Spurs themselves? Are we this good against a team that's right in there with us talent-wise, both youth and experience? Or is this, fool's gold? They're 8-6 now, but the rest of the league, we're going to scout it, and the true Spurs will begin to show up.
Yeah, I think there's a combination of things to look at. One is the schedule has been fairly easy to this point for the San Antonio Spurs, but you're about, 20% through this 72-game schedule at this point, and they've only had Derek White for 1 game. And they played a couple of games without DeMar, and obviously, and a couple of games without LaMarcus. And with no LaMarcus, boy, they were losing 3 or 4 in a row when LaMarcus was out with that sore knee. And I do think while we talk a lot about the young guys, we're better, and it's proven over this part of the season. We're better when LaMarcus is there. We're better when DeMar is there. The other night, it was Rudy Gay, it was DeMar, it was those veteran guys that got the win for San Antonio over Portland, but you got a lot of contributions from those young guys. And it is a pretty good mix. While a lot of focus has been on the young guys, it's the vets that have really been leading the way.
Absolutely. We will see the Spurs continue to go as DeMar plays. And in every one of those 8 wins, DeMar or LaMarcus played a significant role. The absence of those two guys, then Patty Mills has to play a role. And if those threes don't contribute, there's a reason for 6 of those losses. And I certainly think that will continue. You know, Jason and I were talking in show prep, and I brought up this. You know, the Spurs have beaten good teams, and most of the wins have been in the West. These are the tiebreaker games, the ones that really matter when you start getting closer and closer to the playoffs. And we haven't had a chance to travel into the East and, you know, kind of feast on the weaker teams. And James said, well, yeah, when you played the Clippers, they didn't have Paul George. And when you played the Trailblazers, they didn't have C.J. McCollum, and they didn't have Nurkic. Well, you know, the Spurs have gone 8-6 without their starting point guard. They are still shorthanded, yet they continue to impress. And I say that in quotes. I'm not sure that there has ever been the starting point guard, because the starting point guard is DeMar DeRozan. But they are behind the guy that at the end of the bubble had become the literal heart and soul of this team, the charge-taking, big playmaking Derek White.
I'm going to go with the glass half full there. And sure, they got some wins against teams that we look at as better while they were shorthanded. To me, that's even more impressive. You know, you get an opportunity to get a win against the Clippers. You get a win on the road against Portland. I don't care if they're shorthanded or not. You don't apologize for that win. You know, Minnesota isn't going to apologize for beating the Spurs because DeMar wasn't there. But the Spurs should be embarrassed that they lost that game to Minnesota with or without DeMar. You can't apologize for the wins for who's not there, because they're all going to add up at the end. That's why getting those wins against teams that you aren't supposed to beat, shorthanded or not, you have to get those, but you can't have the bad losses like Minnesota and Houston. You can't let those things even out. You need to stay ahead on the ledger if you're going to have a positive balance sheet at the end.
You know, sitting at 8-6, you add those 2 wins that did in fact just slip away with the Rockets and the Timberwolves, and you jump from 8-6, sitting comfortably in 5th with the tiebreaker over the Trailblazers, to a comfortable 4th place, just behind 2 of the teams that you've already beaten.
Think about
now, the Utah Jazz ran them out of the gym, but they did beat the other 2.
Wouldn't you feel so much better about this team if they were 10-4 as opposed to 8-6? And they should be 10-4. But that's why when I sit there and say, man, I still don't know if they're a playoff team this early in the season, it's losses like that. You still lack the consistency night in and night out. You know, third quarters are still a problem. Slow starts are an issue. If they were 10-4, you'd feel a whole lot better than 8-6.
At 6:30, Game Night San Antonio, brought to you by Mellow Mushroom, as we prepare for the Golden State Warriors, a late game with Steph and Weissman and those newly acquired Warriors. Hey, coming back, we got a lot to talk about in the 6 o'clock hour. If I can actually find our rundown there, Jason. I went color coordinated.
Color sheet?
Here it is.
I'm
glad it was yellow. I knew where it was. It's right here.
Oh, you went yellow this time?
It's going to be yellow all week. I've color coordinated it. Put my cubbies together, and it's all completely prepared.
So glad your wife's an elementary school teacher to keep you organized.
Right down here. Coming back on a rundown, it says, no surprise, Patrick Mahomes practiced today. Does that mean he's out of the woods? Well, look at the playoffs. It's going to be one heck of a Sunday. Let's start with the Chiefs coming up next here on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com. It is Wednesday afternoon. You are halfway home. Those weekend happy hours linger closer and closer. That light at the end of the tunnel, you know what that is? That's Twin Peaks, because Friday from 5 to 7, you need to head to one of the 3 great locations around San Antonio. Twin Peaks is honoring the pursuit of brews and barrel-aged bourbon every Friday at their Bourbon and Brews party. Head over to Twin Peaks Fridays from 5 to 7 to experience the finest in local brews, the finest in 29-degree cold beer, the finest in barrel-aged bourbons. Brought to you by Well, the Twin Peaks servers that are dressed appropriately for the occasion. Yes, lingerie or lingerie, depending on where you're from, is on the docket for Friday evening. Exceptional bourbons, tastings, and fine brews. Happy hour like none other at Twin Peaks. 3 locations for you right around the corner there at 151 and 410. De Zavala and I-10 and in Loopland. Head over to Twin Peaks. You're going for that spectacular scratch food. Whether you're going to eat there or take it home, ordering it online, they're going there for that deliciously made scratch food coming out paired with a barrel-aged bourbon or a 29-degree cold beer. That's the reason you go. But what's the true thing in the back of your mind? Why you walking in? I'll tell you why. It's those scenic views.
Scenic Views, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Every Friday on the Blitz, tune in as we get you ready for the sports weekend. What's on? Big games, intriguing matchups, how to watch them, and more. Scenic Views by Twin Peaks, every Friday on the Blitz.
Listen to this radio station on the radio.com app anytime, anywhere. Listen to more than 300 stations along with more than 3,000 podcasts from your home area or across the U.S., all free.
With the radio.com app.
Slackers Sports and Arcade Bar is open and practicing strict social distancing guidelines. Come eat, drink, and enjoy safely at all 4 Slackers locations. And get over to the newest location, Slackers Medical Center, now opening at 7 a.m. to serve our valued medical community.
If we learned anything in 2020, it's that life is unpredictable. There are some things that you just can't control. All the more reason why you need to appreciate and hold tight those special people in your life. That relationship you know you can count on no matter what. At Diamonds Direct, your love is our passion. Your relationship is why we exist, and we stand ready to help you create those memorable moments in 2021 that celebrate and solidify those unbreakable bonds. Our selection of precious rare diamonds has never been greater. From a simple 1-carat princess cut to a breathtaking 10-carat round brilliant, we have your perfect diamond in stock every day at the guaranteed best value price in America. And even in unpredictable times, Diamonds Direct's commitment to you will never waver. We promise the largest selection, the highest quality, the best value, the strongest warranties, and the most unforgettable experience. So as life gets back to normal this new year, remember, cling to the ones you adore by showing them how much they mean to you. And we'll always be here to help. Diamonds Direct.
At the shops at La Cantera.
Introducing Fidelity Income Planning. We look at how much you've saved, how much you'll need, and help you build a straightforward plan to generate income, even when you're not working. A plan that gives you the chance to grow your savings and create cash flow that lasts. Plus, you can start, stop, or adjust your plan at any time. Talk to us today so we can help you go from saving to living. Fidelity Brokerage Services, member NYSE, SIPC.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dealing with battery problems? We can help you out and get you ready for the colder weather ahead. Let's start with a free battery test. If you just need a free charge, we can help with that too. And if it's time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that fit your needs, starting at just $79.99. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination. Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2019.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Let's get wild.
That is the Blitz. Thanks for hanging with us. He is Jason Minix. I am Rob Thompson. You are on ESPN San Antonio. A week from Saturday, we will gather together and celebrate San Antonio's finest schoolboy football players. The San Antonio High School Football All-Star Game, brought to you by HEB, will be in full effect. Jason will be on the call, as he always is. You want to go? We have a family 4-pack of tickets, and we're going to kick in a little bit of a meal with it. Whataburger supplying you with some fine food. A 4-pack for all. You want to go, 656-3776-656-ESPN. Caller number 7, I'm feeling pretty lucky, is going to get to go. We got another family 4-pack to give away in just a bit. Hang on tight. The San Antonio All-Star Football Game coming up Saturday the 30th. Broadcast right here on ESPN San Antonio, brought to you by HEB. Jason, it's going to be exciting to close out a high school football season with in what has been a strange year and an aptly earned reward for everybody that's going to play.
Well, and some really good football players in this game. It's weird having it at the end of January because, I do know that there's going to be some players that were selected to the team because of their college commitments. They're not going to be able to play, but,
right.
That has opened up spots for some other guys. And, you never know who you're going to see in that game. You you think about, Marcus Davenport playing in that game and so many others that have gone on
Josh Reynolds
in pro careers. Absolutely. Josh Reynolds. You go back in the day and think about a Indy Kalu or a Wayne McGarity. I mean, it's always a lot of fun.
Patrick Mahomes stepped foot on the field in practice. It seemed like, by all accounts, he had his wits about him. He was, focused. He knew what day of the week it was, knew what play to call, ran appropriately. This is a step in the protocol, so I'm told. Though no one doubts that he'll be able to play. But what happens, Jason, if come Sunday morning, or no, let's say they have an appropriate amount of time to make a decision. Let's say Saturday morning. He wakes up with a bit of a headache and the general malaise that goes along with a concussion. Would it be appropriate for the NFL to delay the football game?
They're not going to delay the game, Colin.
Well, no. I'm just saying. You're saying if he wakes up and he cannot play, it is football, and it doesn't matter. Back next man up, you got to go play.
Yeah, that's what they'll do. It's interesting because you think about the concussion protocols. We all saw the guy was knocked out. He got up. He didn't know where he was, right? I mean, we all saw that. But we saw him running off the field. I believe it was Orlovsky that said it this morning. Or no, it was Tyler Twillman. I was watching Keyshawn Zubin and Jay Will, and they were talking about this. And dude brought up something that I think is true as far as the protocols go. Now, we all expect him to play. Andy Reid said he took all the snaps in practice today. I find that irresponsible if true, because the guy is in concussion protocol. If Henny is going to play, don't you have to let him get some snaps in practice, right? You would think that they would split reps, but Andy Reid said that Patrick Mahomes took all the snaps in practice today. But as they were talking about on the ESPN Radio Morning Show today, if 3 years ago, both Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes would have got smelling salts on the sideline and been back in the game. So, I mean, when you think about the safety of it, and we laugh, wink, wink, he's playing in this game regardless. A couple of years ago, they would have been back in there and finished the game, especially after you saw Patrick Mahomes running into the locker room. He would have probably been back out there to finish. But one of the protocols, and the final step of the protocol, is to go through legit football activity. Well, there's not a quarterback on this planet that gets hit during practice. So to pass the final step of the protocol is to get hit. And Mahomes isn't going to get hit until he's in the game on Sunday.
But he's got to get through the protocols, and one of them was to actually practice without any ill effect. That's the process, correct?
Did you go through practice, go through the motions, not get queasy, not have a headache? But when you take your first hit, the full football activity is getting hit. There's no quarterbacks that get hit ever during practice. But that is, in fact, the final step of the protocol.
But there's more steps to it, right? There'll be one final protocol check on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. What happens if, for whatever purpose, he can't play? And given everything that this league has gone through, and knowing that the golden goose would be unable to perform, is it worthy even to consider the idea if he can't play to delay the game? We got time. We managed to get here.
Yeah. You're talking about the face of the franchise.
Might be the face of the league right now.
Well, yeah, he is actually. You're right. He is the face of the league. He's the face of the franchise. Nobody wants to watch an AFC championship game with a backup quarterback. I mean, no offense to Chad Henning, but nobody wants to see your backup quarterbacks. Imagine if Baltimore had won, and it would be Henny against whoever that other dude was that came in for Baltimore. Nobody wants to see that, not with the Super Bowl on the line. You would think they could delay it, and COVID has proven you can delay a game. My guess is if the game were to get delayed, it would be because of a couple of positive tests. And even then, the game's going to get played Sunday, and Patrick Mahomes is going to start.
I'm glad that you've kind of landed on that. I would have I know that this has been a strange year, and if they decided to do it, fine. I think everything that happened this year is going to be kind of encapsulated in the weird bubble that is the pandemic. But to delay the game just so he could play, think of all of the great games in the past that were played despite the absence of the great players. And then this year of all, everybody else has struggled through. Ask the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are now home. about what they went through for delays and all that kind of crap. So I'm glad that you fell on the line. Look, man, we're playing on Sunday. We're at 3 o'clock, man. You're going to have to be ready. If you're not, you're not. But that's where we sit. And I don't even like entertaining the idea of this year's special, so we'll delay it just in case you can't play. That's why we play these games. It's a war of attrition. It always has been.
It always has been. And again, I would be shocked if Mahomes was 100% honest. You got a headache? Nope. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's he's gonna say whatever it is to be out there on the field. I
gotta be honest. I always kind of figured that they kind of had a workaround to fix that. I would like to think that if they are truly going to have these separate and autonomous physicians and all that, you'd almost have to go through a lie detector test, where they have to strap you down like, do you really know what day it is? Did you really see all the fingers on their hand? Do you know what street your street address is?
I'm holding up 2 fingers. How many fingers am I holding up? 2. It's almost like, the guy that was standing behind the doctor. How many fingers am I holding up? 3. That stuff happened back in the day. Now it's, you got a headache? Nope. How do you feel? Good. Get out there and play.
See, that's not enough.
I am more worried about, they'll do the concussion baseline testing and all that kind of stuff. And that's a little bit harder to lie your way out of. But a lot of it is the player being honest. I'm more worried about his foot than I am his head.
I think the Chiefs are as well. We come back.
And
Phillip
again,
Rivers.
Irresponsible if he took every snap today and they didn't give any to Chad Henne.
Dude, if Henne plays, they ain't winning anyway. I mean, you got to go all in. What's the point of practicing? You think Chad Henne is capable of leading this team against the Bills in that defense? And if he plays,
Andy Reid is confident that it can happen. I mean, hell, the ESPN Football Power Index gives him a 32% chance to win with Chad Henne. I have it like an 8, 2, maybe.
Well, it's like the SAT. It's like if you're able to just write your name, you get 200 points. They got 30% just for being the Super Bowl champs. They just got they wrote their name and they just got the automatic name bonus for 30%. Yeah. If Henne plays, it ain't gonna happen. I'm sorry. It's not all short outs to Tyreek Hill. It's not gonna work every down. Coming back, Phillip Rivers has retired. He left the Baltimore. Listen to me now. I think he started playing when Baltimore was playing. He left the Colts.
Concussion test?
Just like, yeah, no kidding. I didn't pass we're going to go back to my baseline.
Name bonus.
He left the Colts after a 1 year away, which is typical for the last year of a great player trying to hold on. Is he in the Hall of Fame? Let's talk about whether Phillip Rivers deserves or should be in the Hall of Fame. Very soon thereafter, we got some tough news for you Tiger King fans, and we're cooking with a Beard Award-winning chef at 6 o'clock. Tim Byres joins us for our Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds segment. We're cooking croquettes. You're going to want to be around for that. Hold on. Lots coming your direction. You're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
If you need your logo on whatever gear you have, you get into Sammy's Embroidery Club on San Pedro. If you own a business, you're a manager, you got a club that you're the leader of and in charge of getting gear done, you get into Sammy's Embroidery Club. He'll get your logo on your mask, on your shirts, on your jackets, your caps. He has over 700 uniform lines to choose from: medical, restaurant, service industry, camo gear, safety gear. Sammy has it all. Winter gear, you need some jackets done, some half zips, some hoodies, some beanies. Nobody has better prices. Sammy has all the big name brands, and he's the only company in Texas that offers one-day turnaround. No order too big, certainly no order too small. Go to the website, samsembroidery.com, or better yet, get into that massive showroom. It's on San Pedro, 1 mile inside Loop 410, next to Big Lots across from McDonald's. All items do come with a warranty, and you'll work with Sammy on your project. He's the owner, and he's by his phone right now. Call him, 210-824-3900, 824-3900 for Sammy's Embroidery Club.
Love ESPN San Antonio? Watch The Blitz weekdays 4 to 7 and the Saturday Morning Hangover Saturdays 9 to 11 live at ESPNSA.com or on the ESPN San Antonio Facebook and YouTube pages. Search ESPN San Antonio and subscribe.
SportsCenter is brought to you by Kielbasa Slow Crafted Sausage, available at your local grocery stores.
Do you take a lot of medicine or take care of someone that does? Hero is the new smart device that makes life easier by pre-sorting a 90-day supply of up to 10 different pills. Just pour them in and Hero does the rest.
It's so easy to use and saves me so much time. I never miss a dose. I'm never late for a dose anymore, and that is so critical to me.
It alerts and dispenses with the push of a button. Plus, Hero sends a friendly alert to you and a caregiver.
Hero is amazing, but you could even live out of state with the person and still program their Hero from the convenience of your phone.
Missing doses can be dangerous. Save time and take the worry out of caregiving. Hero manages medication for you.
I feel better than I have ever felt simply because I have this device.
Try Hero risk-free for 30 days. If you don't love it, you don't keep it. Just go to HeroRadio.com for a very special offer. That's HeroRadio.com.
I'm so thankful to have it.
HeroRadio.com. HeroRadio.com.
Message and data rates may apply. Up to 5 messages a month. T&Z and privacy policy found at warbyparker.com/terms. Reply help for help or stop to cancel.
Have you ever wondered why eyeglasses cost so much? Glasses have been around 700 years. Isn't technology supposed to get less expensive over time? Well, there's a simple explanation. For decades, the eyewear industry has been dominated by a single company that's kept prices artificially high while reaping huge profits.
Yikes.
Warby Parker was created to change that. They design and produce their own eyewear and then sell it directly to you for a fraction of the price. Warby Parker's high-quality glasses start at just $95, including your prescription. And if you need an updated prescription, they've got a few easy ways to help you get one. Just go to warbyparker.com to try 5 pairs of frames for free. They'll ship them to you to try out for 5 days. If you find a style you like, they'll send you a fresh pair with your prescription. Easy. Go to warbyparker.com to pick your 5 frames to try on at home for free. That's warbyparker.com to get started for free. warbyparker.com.
Injuries happen. If you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need to know about the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. From a minor sprain to a compound fracture, TSAOG has got you covered. Not all injuries require surgery. Dr. David Espinosa treats all non-operative orthopedic injuries and concussion baseline testing. Telemedicine services are available through Ortho Connect. If you're hurting, go to the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. Online, TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com.
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas and stomach pain for years.
I was bloated all the time with daily diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research and talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions, like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and celiac disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom checker at identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or call with your doctor to ask, could I have EPI?
Sponsored by AbbVie.
It is the Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, on the go at ESPNSA.com. Frequent our website. Go to ESPNSA.com. If you go there, you'd watch us live. You'd see Jason Minix wearing his New Jersey Devils polo. I'm Rob Thompson with a monkey on my shoulder, and James Pledger there at the mothership. So go there frequently, and while you're there, you can play a variety of games. You can upload a picture and win yourself a $50 gift card to Tri-County Meat Market. Now, that picture does need to be of some meat that you have seared and cooked to perfection, and a recipe always helps. So if you hit there on the regular, there's ways to consistently win, like maybe $10,000. You know, every Monday through Friday from 7 to 7, we give you a keyword every hour. You take that keyword, go to ESPNSA.com, you upload it, you could win the $10K a day payday that we are offering all of our Blitzers and ESPN listeners. So, hey, hit the website on the regular. Once a day, that's all we ask.
That's all you got. That's all you got to do. By the way, Devils with a huge win over the New York Rangers last night, 4-3. I know hockey has started, which is news to you, but that was a big win for the New Jersey Devils last night.
Huge. All right, congratulations, New Jersey Devils. Only 100 more games. Phillip Rivers retired this year. Sadly, he will not be the headliner in 5 years when the Hall of Fame contestants are listed to us, as Drew Brees has also walked into the sunset. And he's pretty surefire first ballot. I think we can all agree with that. What is Phillip Rivers' legacy going to be? Will he end up in the Hall of Fame? That's the question. 656-3776, 656 ESPN. We don't have a dog in this fight. We've watched him play for years elsewhere, unless you're a San Diegan. You probably don't have a vested interest, but I'll tell you, from watching afar, Jason, I think he's worthy. I think given the company he's kept, the yards that he's thrown for, he's always been a winner. He was just on a bad team.
Yeah, he had some good teams, but he's got some incredible stats. But it's not the Hall of Fame for the best stats. He doesn't have Super Bowls. He doesn't have the big playoff wins. Probably the best thing on his resume is he is 3-0 against the Dallas Cowboys in his lifetime. And that doesn't get you into the Hall of Fame. I mean, he's a great player. I never watched Phillip Rivers and thought, dude's a Hall of Famer. Throughout the whole time, you start listing off the top quarterbacks in the NFL, the top 5. He's never on that one hand. He's never mentioned in that list. Think about all your fantasy drafts. How many people through the years had Phillip Rivers on their team taken high as QB1? Maybe as the backup in the later rounds, but not many would have.
No,
Phillip
dude,
Rivers
I won. Phillip threw for miles and
quarterback.
touchdowns. I disagree with you. Just because you didn't have him, he won fantasy leagues. He and Keenan Allen won more than one league on their own. He's been over 70,000 yards thrown. He's in the top 5 in total yards. But he was in an era where he was going against a couple of GOATs pretty consistently. And while Peyton Manning came and went while he was, left while he was there, he had to deal with Manning. He had to deal with Brady. He had to deal with the guys that he was drafted with in the same year that landed in better spots in Roethlisberger and Manning. He was in tall cotton every year, but he was on a hamstrung team with bad ownership and bad management and never was given the opportunity. If Baker Mayfield played at the same pace that Rivers did, it would be about the same. 8 coaches later with adequate numbers, but you'll go, well, I'm not sure how much of it was his fault.
Well, again, though, does that make him a Hall of Famer? I mean, not everybody that plays goes into the Hall of Fame. They let 5 dudes in every year. And you can watch a guy, watching Drew Brees, that dude's in the Hall of Fame. There's no argument there. Watching Tom Brady, Hall of Famer, obviously, there's no argument there. I put him in the same category as maybe a Matt Stafford. Good dude, good player, bad situation. Nobody's going to talk about Matt Stafford being a Hall of Famer. I mean, he'll get his jersey retired by the Chargers. He'll get all those kind of accolades, probably going to the California Sports Hall of Fame, but I don't see him going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
When you looked, the fallback will be on this one because of his generation. The 2 guys that went in the same draft were Eli Manning and Ben Roethlisberger. Both of them got Super Bowls, Manning a couple of MVPs, but Rivers threw for more yards. Super Bowls aren't the only divider. There's a lot of Super Bowl, non-Super Bowl winning quarterbacks in the Hall of Fame. I mean, that shouldn't be the only divider. And Rivers has better numbers than than all of the non-Super Bowl winners.
But again, when you look at, your era of when you're playing, and obviously that's why you can't go purely on stats, and Super Bowls isn't the benchmark, but it certainly is going to help. A Super Bowl doesn't guarantee you getting into the Hall of Fame either as a quarterback. But I look at how many All-Pros did he have? That means in the years that he was playing, he was considered one of the top 3 at his position. And in the years he was playing, that dude has 2 All-Pros to his name out of 17 years. That's not a Hall of Famer.
Well, Tom Brady was there every year, so really they were only picking one other. You're dealing with the GOAT. I mean, you got to take that off the top. Okay, this is the top of the mountain. Let's cut that mountain off by 1 because he's never going to overcome Tom Brady. Yeah, it's unfortunate you were playing against the GOAT, but I think you can make an allowance just because he was drafted by the Chargers.
The allowance would have been that he had playoff success. I mean, I think that's where you go. I mean, you know why he has 8 Pro Bowls to his name? Because Tom Brady couldn't go and he was the replacement guy. That's why All-Pro matters a lot more than Pro Bowl. And again, who decides the All-Pro versus who decides the Pro Bowl? So when you look at it again, when he was playing, did you ever list the top 5 quarterbacks and have Phillip Rivers in there? And the answer is no.
I think there were years where he was in the top 5. more than just 2, more than just his all-pro year. I think legitimately for most of his career, he was certainly in the top 10. And for at least half, he was in the top 5. Carrying a bad team in tough divisions, playing nothing but, future Super Bowl winners on the regular. I think he's done enough. Is he a GOAT? By no stretch. Is he a first ballot? By no stretch. But when you look at the era in which he played and the number of players that were playing that should be in the Hall of Fame, I think he deserves to be on the list. Now, it might be 10 years before, and he might be a final ballot Hall of Famer, but I do think he belongs there.
No. When you say that, again, we're talking about Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Which is the greatest of the greats. And I'm not saying he wasn't a great football player. But when I think of Hall of Fame and the fact that they put 5 guys in a year, and you look at all the guys that have retired over the last 5, 6, 8, 10 years, look at the list now. Well, the 15 finalists, and when they announce coming up, we're going to have 5 or 6 go in, this year. So there's going to be 10 dudes of those 15 finalists that are going to be back in the running against next year. And then in 5 years from now, every year when there's more and more and more, I just look at them and think with all the great players that you watch now that you go, no doubt that's a Hall of Famer. All those guys are going to get in. I think he's always going to be amongst the finalists, but I don't think he's going to get the knock at the door.
Guys the likes of Sonny Jurgensen. You brought up Warren Moon, Kurt Warner. I mean, I think he deserves to stand right next to those guys. Jim Kelly. I think that, but for being on a strange team and a bad team, he would have been just like Jim Kelly. He carried his team a long way. He just didn't have every piece that was required of him. Dan Fouts, a guy that wears the same helmet. I mean, no Super Bowls to be had, but lots of yards and consistent effort. I think he belongs in that conversation because these guys are very much the same as he's been.
But if you look at the yards Dan Fouts put up when it was a run dominant game, that's different than what Phillip Rivers put up in a pass dominant game. I mean, when you compare eras and stats, that's what you run into. And again, if Phillip Rivers would have done that in the 70s, the conversation might be different. But I look at today's NFL when he is playing, where he stands. I never watched a game going, man, Phillip Rivers is going to be a Hall of Famer. You know how what's it? We're watching 5 Hall of Famers every game you're watching, right? Phillip Rivers isn't one of them.
He's likely to be on a candidate for years. I wonder if his esteem and his lack of cussing will actually get him in. Phillip Rivers exits, and the game's going to be far worse for his absence because universally he is respected and one of the legendary trash talkers to ever set foot on any grass or hard court or hard field. He is one of the best and gone. South Carolina's Phillip Rivers exits. Hey, coming back, we got a lot to talk about regarding the Spurs. Tough news with the Tiger King, and we're doing some cooking with a chef of great renown. Tim Byres is going to join us. Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds. We're cooking some fine things that involve cheese, pork rinds, and a beard award. It's going to be fun just after 6. You want to make sure you're around. We're doing a game night San Antonio at 6:30. Coming back, let's talk the news of the day and look at the Spurs as they got the Warriors tied at a late tip. Hold on tight. You're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
And you talk about cooking. If you're going to fire up the grill, you want the best meat for that grill, and that comes from Tri-County Meat Market. They got 2 great locations, and when you get into Tri-County, they're locally owned, full service, and they've got carefully selected certified prime Angus beef cuts, the Wagyu, the upper choice, everything you need to up your grilling game. Beef, chicken, pork, those great poppers. Rob, last night I did some chicken and beef fajitas. They come seasoned there. And you get there, you can buy them without the seasoning, but you can't season better than they can. It's better than every restaurant you're ever going to go into. Those fajitas are incredible.
Get the seasoning. Yeah, they've been perfectly seasoned and they're ready for the grill or the flat top. Their fajitas are spectacular. And that's the great thing about going to Tri-County Meat Market, because on the other side of the cooler is a professional meat cutter, a guy who understands how to cook exactly what you're there for. And when you go to a place like Tri-County, you're likely to see cuts of meat that you're familiar with, but you've never actually used. They will give you the advice. They have everything you need in store to grill perfectly, from the spices to the vegetables. Let's talk about about that 5 for $5 that they offer every week. $5 for $25 for 5 different items that you can fill a fridge with. We're not only talking about meat, but produce and everything that goes along with it. Tri-County Meat Market has 2 great locations right over on Hebner Road, a head out I-10 over on Ralph Fair Road. Both of them open and waiting on you. Go check out their website, TriCountyMeat.com. And when you walk in, if you're a first responder, yeah, you're getting 10% off. And that's for all of the military, our police, firemen, and EMTs. Tri-County Meat Markets, the finest meat purveyor in all of San Antonio. Go get something, cook it, put it up on the ESPNSA website, ESPNSA.com website. You can win yourself a $50 gift card that we're giving away tomorrow. You're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
The ESPN San Antonio 10K Payday. This hour's winning word is butter. Enter that word now at ESPNSA.com. Another reason it pays to listen to ESPN San Antonio all day, every day.
Great cash, homie.
Listening to this Allstate commercial about savings might be the hardest thing about getting those savings. Save for simply becoming an Allstate customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit Allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. Allstate. Minimum effort, maximum reward.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Whether class is in school, at home, or a little bit of both, school goes on.
So Staples has everything your student needs at amazing prices. From notebooks to sanitizer, pencils to lap desks.
And this week, Staples Marbleized Comp Books, 1-subject notebooks, and Elmer School Glue are only 75 cents each.
Shop in-store or pick up curbside.
Restock for school and save big right now at Staples.
Ends 1/23/21 while supplies last. Curbside available in most stores.
Leave your sister alone.
You're ready to get back into yoga, so you order the essentials. A non-slip mat, yoga blocks to keep balance, and an exercise ball. And you use your Bank of America Cash Rewards credit card, choosing to earn 3% cash back on online shopping and up to 5.25% as a preferred rewards member, which you put towards your most essential yoga gear. Noise-canceling headphones.
Welcome. Take a deep breath.
Apply for yours at bankofamerica.com/more rewarding. Copyright 2020 Bank of America Corporation.
See the best of the best. The area's top high school seniors in the San Antonio Sports All-Star Football Game presented by HEB. 112 All-Stars from 62 high schools will compete in the annual showdown. Saturday, January 30th at Hero Stadium. Tickets are just $10 in advance, $15 on game day. The San Antonio Sports All-Star Game presented by HEB. January 30th at Hero Stadium. Kickoff at 2 p.m. Tickets available at SanAntonioSports.org. Sponsored by HEB, the U.S. Army, and Sierra, PMG, Whataburger, and Frost.
Fact: filing your taxes with TaxAct can feel like a cash explosion. That's because TaxAct helps you get your maximum refund guaranteed. And TaxAct costs 30% less than the big guys, which means more of this. So if you want a cash explosion of your own, switch to TaxAct. File for less and get more. Start for free at TaxAct.com. 30% less claim based on comparison of TurboTax and H&R Block federal pricing for deluxe and premier consumer online products on December 4th, 2020. Restrictions apply. See TaxAct.com for complete details.
Wendy's new classic chicken sandwich is now in the 2 for $5, and that's reason to celebrate. Try the new classic and then take your mouth on a victory lap with the iconic Dave's Single, the delicious spicy chicken sandwich, spicy or crispy 10-piece nuggets, or just get another classic chicken sandwich. Taste greatness today with Wendy's 2 for $5. We got you.
For a limited time, a la carte only. Price and participation may vary. U.S. Wendy's.
It is the Blitz. He's Jason. I'm Rob. Hope you're having a fine week. It's hump day. Tim Byres is going to join us in about 12 minutes. We're doing some cooking with a world-renowned chef. You know, he's cooked in Outer Mongolia. He's played some kind of weird soccer game with an inflated goat carcass. I'm not making this up.
We were at on a hunting trip with him recently, and he was doing the cooking on this trip, which, by the way, was incredible. But the stories that this man has told in some of the places he has cooked, And that seems like such a lame term to say for him. But, the meals that he has created for dignitaries all over this world is pretty incredible. I know we're supposed to talk about a recipe, but dude, we could talk to this guy about a lot of things for a long time.
Have you heard, yesterday we talked about Jeremy Pruitt, the former Tennessee head football coach who was fired after an internal investigation. Have you heard what they were doing? Effort to
I think they were trying to convince kids to eat the McRib, weren't they?
No, they're handing out Happy Meals. Evidently they were dispersing cash in McDonald's bags to young raw recruits to enhance their visit. And I appreciate the university kind of helping the guys along, but come on, man, at least try to hide it. At least act like it's kind of wrong. I mean, don't just start throwing money off the top of the athletic building and going, hey, everybody wants to take some cash to come and play for us.
I mean, look, did you, I mean, you think about I had a friend that worked at McDonald's when we were in high school, and everybody got 12 nuggets. It didn't matter. You ordered the 10-piece, everybody got 12. They just got a little extra in their McDonald's bag. That's all.
That's just the Pilone deal. I mean, a little something to improve the quality of the Tennessee football program. I'm all for, but what an absolute mess, man.
Dude, it's not the cash handshake. I mean, there's per diem. We got to feed you. We got your food off the dollar menu, but there's a little something in there extra in case you want something better later.
Back years ago, when Kentucky was truly being Kentucky and rolling through one coach after another, before the previous Kentucky administration, there's a player got in trouble because a FedEx package had accidentally come open that was headed to a recruit that was full of $1,000 cash, and the FedEx package just accidentally opened up in transfer, much like a McDonald's bag full of cash, just accidentally just opens up. Guys lose their job. Or you become a powerhouse. It does indeed happen. We've talked a little bit about the Kansas City Chiefs situation with Patrick Mahomes. On the other side of the docket, the star quarterback matchup between the two greats and the aged ones is just now starting to take hold. Aaron Rodgers says, his future is a beautiful mystery. Can you envision a world where Aaron Rodgers gets to a Super Bowl, wins the Super Bowl, and pulls a Deshaun Watson and vacates as fast as he possibly can?
No.
Okay.
I think about John Elway, David Robinson. Very few win a title and walk away. Aaron Rodgers looks like he has so much.
Not walk away. Pull a Deshaun
tank
and trade me. I proved my value. Now I'm going to go where I want to go.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Now I'm trying to think about that. Yeah, I could see Aaron Rodgers doing that.
And can I take it a step further? With this Deshaun Watson mess, could it be an opportunity to right two wrongs?
You mean send Deshaun to Green Bay for Aaron Rodgers?
In the end of his career.
Would a Texan fan go for that? I think at that point, you get a couple years out of Aaron Rodgers where he's playing good football. But Deshaun Watson's got a decade of good football left in those legs. So even then, I don't know if I'm Nick Caserio. That's a deal that I try to pull off.
Not straight up.
Well,
not straight
up. Of course not. Not straight up.
Because I think that as Deshaun Watson begins to flex his football muscle, the leverage that he controls, and if he threatens not to play, the entire organization shudders in fear and starts, going and finding the exact coach that he wants. This time last year, soon thereafter the draft, Aaron Rodgers seemed to be, what are they going to do with him? And his relationship with LaFleur certainly has flourished, and they seem to be working very well together. But I think that at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers just has issues with Green Bay. I think if he sees that it works for Deshaun and he flexes and gets out, and Rodgers goes, I should have done this years ago. I got a ring. This thing's all done. You've already drafted my replacement, if you have not forgotten already. trade me. I got you what you wanted. Now let me go finish my career in a place I want to be.
You know, the interesting thing is I mean, I could see him trying to force his way to San Francisco to close out his career.
Possibly. Because the argument that we had about Phillip Rivers was that he was literally trapped. That, he never flexed his muscle, nor did he ever have the hand or the clout, because by your account and by most, he wasn't great enough to do that. But Aaron Rodgers certainly is, and Deshaun Watson has proven that he can certainly rock a franchise with just the mere threat of, I got to figure things out. Well, they have toyed with Aaron Rodgers for years, and finally it's kind of clicking. He strikes me as a vindictive sort. He's the guy that comes at you when everything's in good place. And yeah, remember when you did to me? Now it's back at you. I get the feeling that he would do that if given the opportunity. He sees it's been successful for players that he might view as lesser than him.
I'm trying to Google real quick. What is Aaron Rodgers' contract status? How many years does he have left on his deal? And it looks like it runs through 2023 at $25 million per.
It's less than Deshaun.
Although 2022 is a $39 million cap hit. 2023 is a $28 million cap hit. Although in 2023, it would only be about $2 million of dead money. So, I mean, they could. That's a movable deal for the Green Bay Packers. So if he were to win a Super Bowl and try to force his way out, the Packers could actually make that happen.
It just seems apparent that you try to read the tea leaves and the way the breezes are blowing. And if I'm Aaron Rodgers and I watch Tom Brady leave the comfortable environs of, New England and the coach and go down and have some fun on the beach and play good football and actually get to play the Super Bowl at home and, have a team built around you with talent that's really, and everybody appreciates you. I don't think Aaron feels appreciated in Green Bay, and I'm pretty sure Tom Brady the last couple of years didn't feel nearly as appreciated as he should have been. And I think that the appreciation factor that Deshaun is kind of focusing on and Aaron Rodgers is always focused on, I think is going to be a little bit more part and parcel of how we see the best athletes in the NFL act from here on out, because it always works. If you're willing to take it and deal with guys like us telling you you're an idiot, get back to work, you just about always get paid. Now, not always, but most of the time, if you do it the right way, you will get paid and your name will be righted by the number of zeros after that first number.
And again, I don't know if he's underappreciated in Green Bay. I know the fans love him. The coach seems to be working with him at this point, but I could see him trying to do that to close out his career with San Francisco. That was his team growing up, played his college ball at Cal. And imagine Aaron Rodgers with the talent they have in San Francisco.
It's a ridiculously scary thought with the idea that these great players could just alter the course of a franchise with a couple of music tweets. And when we come back, let's do some cooking. Tim Byres, a Beard Award-winning chef, is going to join us. We're cooking with pork rinds the keto way. It's a Southern recipe small batch pork rinds. Cooking with the Blitz coming up next. You're on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com. I started going to the Institute for Functional Health a little bit over a year and a half ago, and as we head into a segment where we're cooking with pork rinds to stay keto-friendly, people ask me all the time, is this some kind of keto diet that you're getting on? And I'll tell you, first of all, it's not a diet. I joined Dr. Torres and the IFH fully understanding that I would never go on a diet. Now, understanding what a lifestyle change, that's a different thing. When I met with Dr. Torres, he explained to me the food that I was eating, how I was eating, played as just as much as an effect as to what I was eating and when I was eating. And all those go into the biologics that go into a healthcare plan for you. A medically based plan based on your genetics, your blood work, and all of that on how you specifically will lose weight and all the issues that just you might be dealing with. As we cook keto friendly, it plays a role. And certainly I watch what I eat, but I'll tell you, this is not about giving things up. It's about learning how to eat the things that you love the right way and maybe not quite as much. The Institute for Functional Health taught me so much. I want you to find out about that. I want you to find about what your functional health is and how that relates to all those things that you might not actually apply to your overweightness, like the way that you're sleeping at night, like the general inflammation that goes along with being overweight, the brain fog that goes with all of that, and of course, the diabetes, the hypertension, and all the other stresses that carrying too much weight. puts on your body. It is time to resolve to live a healthier life. Dr. Torres is passionate and there to help you. I want you to speak with him, 210-468-1891, for an absolutely free consultation. Find out what I know. Head down there. They're right down on Ashby, or go to their website, Institute for Functional Health.com. Take the functional health test there. Resolve to live a healthier life. In these times, take every measure you can to remain as healthy as possible, and Dr. Torres is there to be your mentor and your coach. Call the IFH today. Learn what I know. Start losing weight the right way so it will stay off. You call Dr. Torres and the IFH, I am sure you'll thank me later.
Northeast Independent School District is now hiring and training school bus drivers. Whether you're looking for a new job, you're a retiree, or you're retired military, come help drive students to succeed and apply at Northeast ISD Transportation today. No experience is necessary, and you will get paid while earning your CDL and learning how to drive a school bus. The Northeast ISD Transportation Department is ranked as one of the top 100 school bus fleets in America, and our drivers receive exceptional pay and benefits, including health, dental, vision, and retirement. If you're looking for work, if you're retired from the military, or you simply want to make a difference in our community, apply now with the Northeast ISD Transportation Department. Join our team and discover Northeast ISD by calling 210-356-9229. That's 210-356-9229. Or you can text Drive Bus to 797979. That's text Drive Bus to 797979.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
Wendy's new classic chicken sandwich is now in the 2 for $5, and that's reason to celebrate. Try the new classic and then take your mouth on a victory lap with the iconic Dave's Single, the delicious spicy chicken sandwich, spicy or crispy 10-piece nuggets, or just get another classic chicken sandwich. Taste greatness today with Wendy's 2 for $5. We got you.
For a limited time, a la carte only. Price and participation may vary. U.S. Wendy's.
For DIY projects, you know the Home Depot is always in your corner. Now with our mobile app, it can also be in the palm of your hand. With digital tools like image search, snap a picture of something. It'll recognize it and serve up product suggestions in seconds. And our product locator will check availability and lead you right to it. The Home Depot mobile app. Download it today to get started. Only from the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
For everything Cowboys.
Touchdown, Cowboys!
1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM, where the pros play. KCDC San Antonio. Jason Minix, Rob Thompson, the Blitz.
It is the Blitz. Here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, on the go at ESPNSA.com. He is Jason Minix. I am Rob Thompson. You want to prove it to yourself? Go to ESPNSA.com. You can see him. You get a chance to look at his mug. It ain't pretty, but it's there. If you go there, you can watch our live broadcast every week. I'm Rob Thompson, James Pledger, driving us all the way till 7 o'clock. Wednesdays have become just about my favorite day because we get to talk cooking. And as you know, if you're a Blitz listener, that we have become, we have a long and a lovely relationship with seared meat over a flame. And Tim Byres joins us. He's a Beard Award-winning chef, written a cookbook, the likes of which, if you don't have, you really aren't cooking, are you? Tim, welcome aboard. Let's do some cooking with some Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds. And first, Tim, as we have you on, I don't think I have adequately described exactly what a Beard Award is and how you attain such a thing.
I guess as a chef or like a food writer, it's kind of like winning a Grammy or something like that. It's the it's the big award.
The big award,
yeah.
and
it's the big award. Actually, it's in the background. You see it up there underneath the pig.
Underneath.
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Appropriately put.
Well, and exactly.
I can talk about pork rinds and whatever.
Well, and that makes sense. Now, it's interesting because I know what the recipe is, that we are going to go over today. And I thought, boy, this sounds familiar. And so I grabbed your cookbook that I got, and I was like, I've seen this before. This is actually in your cookbook, a variation of it, but now using it with pork rinds, which is incredible.
Well, it's also, it's like Rob was saying earlier when he was talking about whole health and that sort of stuff. It's that transition into keto and low carb and that sort of thing. So this is a pimento cheese and pork rind croquette. So we got no flour. We're subbing the bread for the pork rind crumble. And, I made the recipe a little different than the one in the book, just because when you're working with different ingredients, you're going to have to change it up. So it came out pretty cool, first time, diving into some of these keto recipes or just trying to keep it, in that low carb world. It takes a little bit of moving some things around, but I've been having a really great time with Southern Recipe Small Batch. I mean, the guys are awesome, and, get to hang out with dudes like you and, talk shop and have fun. So it's been pretty great.
Well, the on our side of the coin, we get to learn to cook like an award-winning chef. And let's talk about what we got this week. Right. Molten pimento cheese pork rind croquettes. You can follow along. Now, I want you to go buy the book. I certainly want you to go buy the appropriate book by Tim Byres. But if you go to porkrindrecipes.com right now, you can actually look at it and use it immediately. And first and foremost, the recipe involves Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds as the crust to provide some texture and crunch to a molten pimento cheese ball, the likes of which I've never even tried to make before. So tell us how we put this thing together.
Sure, yeah. So it's pretty simple. You get your favorite bag of pork rinds, and when you want to make that crumble, I'll just roll the end of it and just either crush it with like a rolling pin or a plate or whatever you got. It'll take your pork rind and it'll turn it into a breadcrumb looking substitute. So simply, the recipe, like you were saying, you can catch it online, but it's got 2 cups of shredded cheddar, a couple of eggs, a little bit of lemon juice, your choice of hot sauce, like a Cholula or like a Louisiana hot sauce, a little bit of cornstarch, a little bit of water, just in some of the breading. But I just take the cheddar cheese, put it in a bowl with an egg, half the cornstarch in the recipe, some lemon juice, hot sauce, some salt, and you just sort of mix that up. So initially when you're making sort of, a croquette, what a croquette is, it's usually either vegetables or cheese or fish. They're sort of chopped and then breaded and then fried. And so what we're doing is we're taking kind of an old school Southern classic thing, pimento cheese, which is normally, red roasted peppers, a little bit of mayonnaise, and cheddar cheese. And it's something you would spread on crackers or whatnot. And we're just like kind of encasing it in this crunchy pork rind. Instead of putting pimento cheese on the pork rind, we're putting it all this one kind of pop and go, awesome game day kind of thing. You put it out on a platter. So I've got the bowl full of cheese and all that's mixed up. I want to roll that into a ball, and then what I do is I take those balls and I roll them in a little bit of cornstarch. So what that's going to do, it's just going to be a really low carb, way of putting a bit of a crust on the outside of that. Mm-hmm. And I take the remaining egg, whip it up with a little bit of water, so make an egg wash, roll that cornstarch cheese ball in there, and then I take that and I just roll it through the crumbled pork rinds and take that little guy and then just deep fry it for about 30 to 60 seconds till it's golden. So it sounds like it's only a few minutes. I mean, it's under a minute to cook one of these little balls, but the cool thing is like comes out of there and it's going to continue to cook. So you got that cheese oozing and, all of that good stuff in there. There's an egg that's sort of binding it together. So once it's got a hard shell on the outside, I mean, you could just put it on a platter and put it out, and you're going to take that, dip it into your favorite hot sauce. And, depending on who's playing, we could, change up what hot sauces and, mix it up a little bit to be, game day specific.
I have a question.
Buffalo sauce.
With the different sauces, and you talked about pimento cheese and the idea of what pimento cheese is. If you have, this is kind of an easy make your own pimento cheese recipe. If you have a favorite, could you just go buy one and scoop it out and roll it up and do it that way as well?
Well, it's kind of about the binding part of it. I mean, you could give it a shot. Sometimes the mayonnaise and those things that are in there is going to make it really runny. I mean, this is like a handful of ingredients, and really when working on these recipes for Southern Recipe, like you said, Southern Recipe, porkrindrecipes.com, that's where my recipes that I've been developing for these guys. The small batch, Southern Recipe smallbatch.com's got a ton more of all sorts of stuff that, man, we've kind of dove in some fun, extras, like looked at stuff that people on this keto diet are normally doing, like kind of demystifying the pizza crust and making cool little bruschettas and that sort of thing. I did a really cool, rice paper wrapped summer roll with their Thai curry flavored rinds in the center. So you're eating this. It's like a salad with instead of a crunch crouton in the middle, you got a pork rind. But we've done.
I look at all the different flavors of the. Well, we'll get into margaritas in a minute because what you're doing with the drinks and you got a whole section in your book on smoked cocktails, which is incredible. But I think about the different flavors of the Southern Recipe small batch and what they can do for your food. But I'm curious, Tim. You think about as a chef, you create all kinds of different stuff. Going through trial and error of what's going to work using the different pork rinds, how does that come to you? How do you decide, all right, you know what, I'm going to use this and use pork rinds with it?
Well, it's funny, man. I've got right next to me, I've got a box of everything, right? And so you've got like sea salt cracked, and black pepper. So this one's going to be pretty, normal flavored, in a sense of like, it's not going to have a ton of stuff going on, like maybe kimchi barbecue, which is another really like famous flavor of theirs. So like for the pimento cheese, I'm going to go with something that's just a little more streamlined. So what we're going to have here is just like, what's better than pork and molten cheddar on a game day? That's like right on. And then, like other recipes, like, okay, you're looking at their pineapple ancho chili one. So that's going to be sweet and spicy. That's going to want something more fun and a little bit, you know what I mean? So when I look at the flavors, I try to match them and have fun with it. Like that spring roll dish, right? Asian inspired dish. We're going to roll with the Thai curry on that, but I probably wouldn't do Thai curry with pimento cheese. So, that's the fun thing about making these sort of fancier chefy kind of recipes with your favorite snack. It's like everybody's got their own favorite. I like the spicy dill and then the Sia chili cheese ones. But
all outstanding. And it does add a different profile of flavor with each one that you want to use. With the recipe that's right now at porkrindrecipes.com, and with the recipe as it is right now, how many of the croquettes can you make with the recipe there? How many would I expect to make? So if I wanted to cook for 8 people or 4 people, what is this recipe cooking for?
Let me pull it real quick. I like 4 to 6, I think is what smoked cheese are. Sometimes we'll do a platter. Like I got a recipe coming out, I know that's going to hit around Super Bowl, and that's the idea is having like a platter. And that has 3 different things on it with like, beer cheese fondue for dipping rinds. There's, all sorts of fun.
Beer cheese fondue for dipping rinds. That's a whole other day and a whole bunch of questions. We are joined by
Bay, though, right? It's
very much as we're headed there. The Pork Rind Appreciation Day falls on the day of the big game, and there's no better way to do it than with Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds, using recipes from one of the renowned chefs in our country, Tim Byres, a Beard Award-winning chef. Go to Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds, porkrindrecipes.com for these recipes. Tim, as we have access to a true, a culinary genius, I want you to give me a time-saving tip that you use in the kitchen on a regular basis that we can kind of just take away. And it doesn't have to be about cooking pork rinds or anything like that, but a chef, a true master, tell me something that I can do to save a little bit of time when I'm prepping food.
Well, okay. Well, like, what are you trying to save time on?
Anything. Like if I'm prepping vegetables, what do you do to save some time? If I'm cooking stock, what do you do? A little time saver from a professional. I think we're always eager to hear.
Okay. Well, for me, it's always about trying to get as much done as you can ahead of time. Like I think when I was younger, I would want to do these elaborate spreads, and in the end, you're like the only guy in the kitchen with a pile full of dishes, and like you're not having any fun. So I do everything family style too, for the most part. Like my perfect table is like 12 to 20 people. And that's like a really cool party. And so that means it's a sort of roll up your sleeves, pass the platters around, have an awesome time. And I think the other thing is like, don't take yourself seriously. Everybody comes to me and they're like, oh, I can't do this. I talked to Jason for a long time. And you're like, oh no, I can't smoke this or do this. We were, you know, and I'm telling you, you can. You talk yourself out of everything. Not you, Jason, but like human people do.
No, a year ago we were in a deer blind and I didn't know how to cook a thing,
Right.
and then the pandemic.
You've created a monster, Tim. You need to follow his social media feed. The man's an animal over a flame.
I know. I get it. And, you know, and that's awesome. And I love that he's got the book, because the second time we were in a deer blind recently, we were talking about how his brothers, either a brother or brother-in-law, stole my book from him, and you know he needed to get it back. And I'm glad he's got it back, because now we're going to have to get in the kitchen or on the grill and get going.
It is Tim Byres right here on the Blitz. It's a pleasure to talk with an absolute genius. Yes, he's a Traeger guy.
I appreciate all the flowerful language.
Well, it's all very true. I've been the recipient of more than one fine meal that Tim Byres has created. Go to Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds. Cook with these things. If you're living a keto lifestyle, your life's about to improve tremendously. And if you're not, use it to add a flavor profile, the likes of which you never thought was possible with a pork rind. It is a great era that we live in, and we got Tim Byres to thank you for it. Tim, thanks for joining us today, man. We are excited about having you on. We look forward to having you back.
Oh, I love it, man. Thanks for everything, guys, and I hope to see you soon.
Tim Byres, go get those pork rinds over at HEB. They're selling them right now. Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds. Molten pimento cheese pork rind croquettes. Yeah, fancy. Hold on tight. We got Spurs talk coming at 6:30. They're getting ready for the Warriors and football as well. Hold on. You're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM on the go at ESPNSA.com.
You know, nobody ever plans on getting arrested, but it does happen to a lot of people every day for all kinds of reasons. Maybe it's not you, but you get a phone call from a friend or a family member that got arrested. You want to get them out of jail fast. You want to get out of jail fast. You know, the best way to do that is by calling my good friend Albert and his great staff at AA Best Bail Bonds. 210-225-2121 is the phone number, or go to the website, mybestbailbonds.com. You can even start the bonding process there online. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else to get out of jail. You don't want to be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you a PR bond, make sure you truly understand what those conditions are before accepting it. Your best option, AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans available, offer a free shuttle service. They're discreet and confidential and open 24/7 to get you out fast. Offices all over San Antonio and Texas, up in Dallas, down in Corpus, in the Valley, anywhere in between. Services nationwide. License number 149. Call AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. 225-2121 or online at mybestbailbonds.com.
Game Nights The Blitz focuses on your silver and black in depth for 30 minutes. Game Night San Antonio, brought to you by the Mellow Mushroom.
This is Matt Bonner.
Spend your game nights with us. 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM.
Does learning a language feel like this?
No habla español? Hablo. It's hablo?
Yes.
It's hablo.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
Since my husband is from Guatemala, I'll apply what I've learned in Babbel to our real life situations.
The app is so easy to use and it's so practical. It helps you learn things that you will actually need.
Babbel, language for life, celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at babbel.com. That's babbel.com, BABBEL.com.
Cowboys hired Dan Quinn to take over the defense.
How much of this was a Mike McCarthy hire? How much of this was a Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones hire? Was it truly a group decision, or was it Jerry saying, Mike, here's your guy?
What do you think?
And we don't know that. Well, Mike McCarthy brought in his own people the first year, and Jerry Jones fired him. Does he have the same authority in bringing in this guy?
The Blitz, weekdays 4 to 7, 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM.
It's the Blitz. You're on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM on the go at ESPNSA.com. Tim Byres, you know, I don't fanboy often, but chefs, there's something about meeting a chef. If anybody who follows us knows that I have kind of a
who's the dude from the Super Bowl that had to get the restraining order?
Andrew Zimmer. Andrew Zimmern is a guy that I've always appreciated his work, and we ran into him a couple of times. And when I meet him, I scare him. I'm a little bit too I'm like a puppy.
Well, in Minnesota, you were humping his leg. It wasn't as bad last year in Miami.
No, we're bros now, man. We hold up. We sit, talk, exchange recipes.
Literally, we did like a 40-minute interview with him in a 10-minute segment down in Miami, and by the end of it, you two were holding hands. It was lovely.
Yeah, we were.
I mean, literally, I went and I had lunch. Used the facilities there at the convention center, which was 1.5 miles away. Came back, and you were still on the first question. I mean, it was a glorious time.
If you missed any of Tim Byres, great insight from a world-renowned chef. Go to ESPNSA.com. The audio vault will have everything that we talked about. Again, Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds. This week we did some pimento cheese pork rinds that will be outstanding on a Sunday afternoon of fine football. In the meantime, let's get back to the trauma of Houston Texan fan as the ongoing saga of does Deshaun want to go or want to stay and what's it going to take to keep him continues. Michael Irvin, a good friend of the show, finally was asked. He was on Payne and Pendergast this morning on Sports Radio 610 talking about the situation that the Texans find themselves in. And Michael's got some insight kind of behind the scenes, and that name continues to pop up. Jack Easterby. Let's hear from Michael Irvin.
Well, obviously, what's out there is conversations about how things are being run. I would have that conversation about how things are being run, and not just I'm talking about the coaching situation, but even beyond that. And that's what this has all been about. And this goes back to one idea that when I talked with DeAndre Hopkins before they let him go. So obviously this thing has come to a point where it's been going on for a while. So you're going to need some clarity on all of that.
Michael, when you had that conversation with DeAndre Hopkins and anybody else surrounding the Texans, at the time, the white-hot focus was on Bill O'Brien, right? Did you get a sense that there was more than just Bill O'Brien at that point?
Yes. Yeah, I didn't get a sense. It's kind of what they told me. That's what they said.
Was it? Did Jack Easterby's name come up?
Yes. I'm gonna leave it at that.
It's like he's reading the notes.
Okay, gotcha. Yep. Yeah, and so I guess so it would stand to reason when you're watching all this unfold from afar, and you got to follow 32 teams, but Houston has a way of popping up on the on the headlines like pretty regularly. When Bill O'Brien got fired, did you anticipate, okay, this isn't the end of it? There's still some issues in Houston that need to be worked through?
Yes, we had that conversation too.
We've known Michael Irvin for years and years and years, and until he signed an exclusive radio deal with another company, he was on with us on a weekly basis. I've never known Michael Irvin to give one-word answers. I've never known Michael Irvin to have 5-second pregnant pauses on deciding on whether or not he should answer a question, and we've had some very honest conversations. Remember when Dez was going through the turmoil?
Yes.
He had no problem, but always very careful. And when I talk to these guys as a dude, that's not going to make it on my analyst part of things, and I'm not going to share your secrets without knowledge. He was walking a fine line there, and that's not what I normally expect to hear from Michael Irvin. So I take that. And 2 + 2 is 4. And in this case, it might be 10. I mean, that is incredible sound from Michael Irvin, just knowing him, his personality, and how he typically answers questions. He doesn't give 1 or 2 word answers. He ain't Kyrie sitting up there on the dais, not wanting to answer any of those questions. But that's kind of what that felt like. Yeah. But and I credit Seth Payne for knowing, all right, we're getting into an area that might violate something, so I'm not going to push.
What I take from this is context of what we should have known a year ago. You know, Michael's talking about a conversation that he had with D-Hop after the trade. I remember it was a good get. It was March of last year. D-Hop gets traded, and Michael was the first one really to sit down and talk with D-Hop. And the conversation obviously led to Jack Easterby and far beyond just the talent and the climate that Obes had, but it goes far deeper than that. And it was leaking then. And you feel like in hindsight as a Texan fan or somebody inside the Texans should have realized that just because D-Hop is gone doesn't mean that the problem's gone. In fact, the problem is now exacerbated because now there's going to be talk. And you could tell that Michael wanted to protect D-Hop and anybody else that he would have spoken to in regards to this by his hesitation. But it feels like people knew there was a problem, but no one would say anything because Easterby carried so much power. And you hear everybody we've talked to, from John Lopez to Clint Sterner to Seth Payne, all of these guys have said they hate Jack Easterby. And I'm getting the feeling we should have noticed the internal strife a year ago. And because we didn't, Deshaun Watson sat back and watched it burn, and no one did anything about it till it was way too late.
Well, and I think part of it too, though, and again, I mean, you know, for Michael Irvin to confirm that Jack Easterby was a big part of the problem, I think one of the reasons why you didn't, you know, hindsight being 2020, right, is because Bill O'Brien was still there as head coach and general manager. I don't think any of us truly realized how big of a stick Jack Easterby carried inside of that building. And that includes Deshaun Watson, who maybe felt like he was still protected some from his head coach and general manager. But once Bill O'Brien got fired and Jack Easterby got even more control, I think now you're starting to see some of it there. So I don't know that you can go, man, how did we not see this coming a year ago when Hop got traded? Because, you know, Jack Easterby was still a question mark of what he did there, but it was still Bill O'Brien as the coach and the GM. And Jack Easterby signed off on the trade, maybe convinced him, especially with some of the comments that we heard from Bill O'Brien on the way out. Everything that I've heard about Jack Easterby sounds like something O'Brien heard in a meeting with, you know, maybe Jack Easterby and Cal McNair and went, well, we can't have that. Yeah, baby mama. I mean, you think about some of the ludicrous things that he said. But I do think inside that building, inside that locker room, a guy like Deshaun probably still felt somewhat protected by Bill O'Brien. Again, Bill O'Brien got Deshaun Watson to sign that long-term deal. So while the problems may have been bad, they might not have been that bad when Deshaun Watson signed that contract.
You get the feeling that the normal was so bad. I don't think anybody realized how bad it was.
Well, that's it. But it was bad enough for Deshaun in signing a ridiculously large contract, which again, most people aren't going to turn that down unless their name is Dak Prescott. But for him to sign that contract, but also build in the no trade clause. And I thought the no trade clause, when he added that in, was to protect him because he didn't trust certain people that if the team wasn't good, they would try to trade him and he'd end up somewhere he didn't want to be. I thought that was his commitment to Houston and the Texans asking for the no trade clause.
No.
You realize later it was the power move by Deshaun Watson's agent. When it was first included in there, it came across as, that dude is a Texan for life. Look at that. He's building it in there. You can't get rid of me. I break a leg.
Is it a
I blow
power
out a
move
knee.
by Mulligetta, or is it complete and utter incompetence by Bill O'Brien and Jack Easterby, who negotiated not just that contract, but every contract that looks ridiculous since they took over?
No, James, you're right. They got hoodwinked because they felt like, yeah, we got Deshaun forever. No trade clause. We got it. What it did was Mulligetta saw, look, we're eating like 16% of their payroll. This is not going to go well. They're going to have to walk this fine. I'm going to help them. I'm going to try to bring him some more talent. But if they don't do everything right, this thing's going to fall freaking apart. And they didn't. And Mulligetta built in a way to where you can't just trade him to save yourself. He can only go where he wants to go. He built in that poison pill to protect his guy. And the Texans thought, oh, we're golden.
Well, and again, I look at too, though. I mean, again, what we know now versus what we knew then when they signed that contract and we heard there was a no trade in there. my first thought was he's protecting himself from getting traded down the road. Injuries, something happens like RG3 was so great, knee injury, never the same. You see that so often, with quarterbacks that, an Alex Smith type of situation. You got it all, and then all of a sudden you get traded and you have that kind of career. I thought he was protecting himself. I don't have an offensive line. Chances of me getting hurt are pretty damn good. And maybe it was a combination of both, but well done on the part of Deshaun Watson and his agent.
Yeah, the chess and checkers analogy seems to apply pretty appropriately. Hey, let's talk San Antonio Spurs night coming up. Game night San Antonio with Jill Jelnick, brought to you by Mellow Mushroom. Boy, the beer cheese sounds pretty good right about now as I get hungry. Spurs got a late tip. We'll have time to eat. Let's talk about the game tonight. A show-me game, one of the early ones. Let's talk about it next. You're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
We've all heard of porch pirates. Maybe you've even had a package stolen right off your porch. Have you heard of the new Amazon Key? It's a new feature from Amazon, and my friends over at BSG have the Amazon Key. Jason Minix here. If you order a lot from Amazon, you need to look into getting this Amazon Key. Give you that peace of mind that packages are not left on your porch. They're actually left inside your garage. It's all on video. It's incredible. Secure Amazon drivers can open your garage door, and a camera is going to pop on, and your door that goes from the garage inside the house is going to automatically lock, and you're going to get notified on your smart app. So you can then watch the driver deliver your package inside your garage and then close the garage door when they're leaving. It's safe and secure, so you don't have to worry about packages getting stolen off your porch. Your packages are secure inside your garage. No monthly fee. It's an Amazon feature, and BSG has the products to make it work. Go to bsgtexas.com for more details. BSG is a great local company. They've been in business in San Antonio over 20 years. Call BSG at 210-877-1222, 877-1222, or online, bsgtexas.com.
Getting ready for the hangover without the headache. The Saturday Morning Hangover. James Pledger and Jack Thompson. Saturday mornings 9 to 11. 1250 ESPN San Antonio. 94.5 FM. And on the go at ESPNSA.com. Game nights, the Blitz goes silver and black.
This is Matt Bonner.
Hi, this is DeJounte Murray. It's Game Night San Antonio.
It's Game Night San Antonio, brought to you by the Mellow Mushroom. 30 minutes before every game night on the Blitz, we give you an in-depth look at your silver and black. Game Night San Antonio, brought to you by the Mellow Mushroom. Spend your game nights with us.
1250
ESPN San Antonio.
And 94.5 FM.
Get the latest on the Texans. The Blitz, weekdays 4 to 7.
The idea of a quarterback, name one, and we'll talk about the Jets, of a Darnold and 4 number ones, that answers a lot of problems. It fixes them in the short term, and it also gives you a bridge to use while you use your draft picks to find that next quarterback. Could the bounty be such that even if they think they can keep him, it's almost hard to turn down? Is there a godfather out there in the NFL where there's a team capable of, well, for that, I'll trade you Deshaun Watson, whether he wants to stay or go?
Yes, I do think that's a possibility. And you wonder, the Patriot way, what does Bill Belichick do with all aging players? They get rid of them a year too soon as opposed to a year too late. The loyalty factor, they love you, but at certain points you're done. And that's why, like a J.J. Watt, as soon as they hired him, he said, J.J. knew he was done here because that is what Nick Caserio does.
1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM. Game Night San Antonio, brought to you by the Mellow Mushroom.
This is Manu Ginobili. This is Matt Bonner, a.k.a. the Red Rocket, a.k.a. the Red Mamba, a.k.a. the Sandwich Hunter.
Hi, this is DeJounte Murray. It's Game Night San Antonio.
Game Night San Antonio, brought to you by the Mellow Mushroom.
It's Game Night San Antonio, always brought to you by Mellow Mushroom. The usual suspects involved. He's Jason Minix. She is Jill Jelnick of Sports2Nite. I'm Rob Thompson. So the Spurs, Jill, last we spoke, had one of those weird little home and back-to-backs with the Rockets, and they lose embarrassingly first, come back and get the next one in what was probably a better example of how the Spurs play. Sitting in 5th place right now, the Spurs are going with a show-me game tonight with the Warriors. Tell me about your perception of the Spurs right now. Are they starting to turn heads around the rest of the NBA with a couple of big wins?
Absolutely. They're no longer a secret. And this was something that, it took some time. Once the season got started, we as media, as fans, as San Antonians, trying to figure out what this team was all about. And we've seen it. They've won 6 of their last 8 games. They've taken down some very competitive Western Conference opponents. And now they're not surprising anybody. Other teams are going to start to expect a consistent performance from these young Spurs. Yes, they're young. I think the average age is 24, 25, but they're very talented. And you better believe Golden State Warriors have done their homework. They see what the Spurs can do, what they did with the Houston Rockets, what they did on the road in LA. And they're just not going to be surprised. So the Spurs do lose that element of, hey, maybe we can kind of slide under the radar a little bit, outplay or exceed expectations, get lucky. That's just not the case anymore.
It's not, and we were having this conversation earlier, Jill. The Spurs are 8-6. They shouldn't have lost to Houston. They shouldn't have lost to Minnesota. How much better would we feel if they were 10-4 as opposed to 8-6? And then Pledger brings up, but you beat a Portland team that's shorthanded. You beat a Clippers team that was without Paul George. Are those wins that you really do count since you were playing against shorthanded teams?
I mean, yes and no, right? Because the same argument could be made for the Spurs. They don't have Derek White. They're still trying to figure things out. It was a shortened training camp. There's excuses on both sides. I think
you're the fall guy. Go ahead.
You're the fall guy.
I'm talking to Pledge. He's the fall guy.
There's excuses on both sides, Jason. So yes, I hear your point. But it's also so early. I think from my perspective, the Spurs have surprised me through they're 8-6, right? They won 6 of their last 8. I think where they are right now is promising, especially considering they don't even have Derek White.
Absolutely. And what we've seen the best and the worst in less than a week. We've seen a very good win against the Portland Trailblazer team that, granted, was down in James' defense, a couple of guys, but we saw a gritty win and an expanded run at the end of the game. They held on tight and even and spread the lead in the 4th, which is kind of a next step for them. But we also saw them lose to a G League team in the Rockets. And we've talked over and over in the way that DeMar leads this team. And then when I look at the season numbers and look at the games that we've won and when we've lost, the difference is DeMar's performance in those games that we expected to win. When we look at DeMar and his ability to control the game, not only with his scoring, which he leads the team at 20 points a game, but also his assists at 6 assists a game and almost 7 rebounds a game. DeMar is putting in an all-star caliber performance, like a starting all-star caliber performance right now. We're a month in, we're at about 20% through the season or whatever it might be. Tell me where DeMar's place with this team is next year. Is he playing himself into a longer-term relationship? And does it look like this is something that he would want, despite rumors to the contrary?
Next year. You want to talk about next year already,
yes.
And we're just getting underway here. I think, to your point, Rob, DeMar DeRozan is perhaps having his best all-around season of his career, all around. From, you mentioned the assists, a career-high 7 assists. He's shooting 34% from long distance. That is not DeMar. This is a new DeMar we're seeing. So he's showing us he has more. The potential and the ceiling for him is increasingly getting bigger and bigger. And so I think while we look at him as a role player and a leader, especially in that 4th quarter situation, leading the team down the stretch this year, I think that continues next year, Rob. I think you've got if depending on the rest of this season, if they really do have this chemistry, this fast-moving pace, faster pace, move the ball around, young Spurs movement. If this continues and they make it to the playoffs and do well, you have to bring him back. I'm sorry. You have to.
You know, it's interesting because you say you have to, and I don't argue with you, but at the same time, depending on how things are going, as the trade deadline gets closer, a playoff team might have a lot of interest in a expiring contract like DeMar DeRozan.
No, that's a good point. I agree with you on that. But at that point, the Spurs have to get some sort of veteran leader, star, right? How many times have we talked about, do the Spurs need a star? Do they need a big name? If they can get away without having to pay X amount for that big name, for that big star, because of what they have already, why would you do that?
True. Absolutely true. Golden State Warriors on the docket tonight. As we've seen the improved team, the improvement of the Spurs, I think we can point to a couple of things. And first and foremost is the perimeter defense. You know, when the Spurs lose, there's lots of wide open threes available to whomever is there. And when they win, they close out on those threes. Watching them, what has been the primary change? Has it been understanding what they're supposed to be doing, or is it more about scheme and the alteration? I mean, is it more about coaching or understanding what the program is for the Spurs?
A little bit of both, and that just has to do with their youth, with still understanding everything. I mean, you're looking at Keldon Johnson, Lonnie Walker playing obscenely way more minutes than they had a year ago. Even DeJounte Murray taking on more of a dominant role as that ball handler. All three of those guys are getting much better defensive-wise. DeJounte Murray, I think with him, he's always been an outstanding defender, right? He's just named into the defensive team last season. But with him, I think it's getting more comfortable with his role. So it's a little bit of both. The coaching, the taking on these teams, figuring things out early, but their perimeter defense has gotten better. They held the Blazers to under 30% from long distance on Monday. Overall, their defense is what has impressed me the most. 6 of their last 8 games, really their last 8 games, if you take away the ugly Jazz loss. That is an area they're getting better.
It's funny you talk about the defense getting better, and article today on NBA.com about the first month, 15 surprises, and Pop still being so relatable, but he's changing with today's game. But it's Greg Popovich. And no matter what is happening offensively, it still comes back to playing sound defense for him. I mean, doesn't it start and end on the defensive side with Greg Popovich?
Always does, always has, always will. Last year, they were pretty rough defensive-wise, right? That was in large part their Achilles heel. Something changed in bubble, and they've been able to carry that over, and not only carry it over, but improve off of it.
Jakob Poeltl's been on a bit of a tear the last 3 games. We'd like to welcome to the scoring column, Jakob Poeltl. We've even had a dunk. Who'd have thought? You know, as you look at the Spurs' improvement, I think that was the first and foremost issue that Pop was dealing with was the bigs rotation and trying to find a way not only to have an offense where LaMarcus is able and capable of taking those threes, but in that very same offense, when Poeltl is in, threes aren't going to come from the big. It's going to come from elsewhere. And Poeltl, I think, had a bit of a learning curve fitting in while trying to find the offense that we so desperately want, but also being that glue guy that really made his bones. Is Poeltl finding his way in, or is this just one of those streaks that Poeltl has found himself on in the last couple of years?
I hope it's not just a streak. I hope this is a Jakob Poeltl we continue to see more of. You know, they just extended his contract, right, this offseason. And I remember specifically in his press conference, Poeltl talked about not only needing to get better, but feeling like he hasn't quite reached that full potential yet. He still has so much more to offer with his size, with his talent. And each year his goal is getting better and better. And I think especially with it's great to have LA back healthy, right? But we all know that this is going to be a long season. However condensed this is or not, Jakob Poeltl is going to need to come in and play major minutes to give LA that rest, especially down the stretch.
And I don't know how much I can give him against Portland. They had no bigs. The mismatch was certainly there. But I do like that he is playing better, maybe playing with a little confidence. And you look at a guy that is trying to figure out where he belongs. I mean, I did think we'd see more offensively from him. You mentioned the dunk. He took so much crap because of that photo of Pop when he was jumping up and, in the air in that photo and his hair was flying, and he had a higher vertical than Jakob. I think Jakob had to prove everybody that 73-year-old man doesn't have more hops than he does.
It's
such a great
It's Doc
picture.
Brown in the Air Mags, man. He's got ups. Hey, when we come back, we'll look at the starting lineups. The Warriors, they do offer a unique challenge, and the threes are going to be coming from a distance, the likes of which you don't see very often with Steph Curry. Draymond Green is the quarterback, but Steph's got to make them. We'll look at what they have to do to beat the Warriors and look at the starting lineups next. You're on Game Night San Antonio, brought to you by Mellow Mushroom, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Does your water have a bad taste, a bad smell? You need to know about Alamo Water Softeners, a great locally owned, family-run business by the Townsends. Alamo Water Softeners was started years ago by Alan Townsend. His son Trevor runs it now. They're a fantastic local company to work with. And you know, in San Antonio, having a water softener is a necessary item because we have some of the hardest water in the country. Not only will an Alamo Water Softener give you soft water, but it's going to extend the life of your plumbing and your appliances, and you're instantly going to notice the difference on your dishes coming out of the dishwasher. You'll feel the difference on your skin and hair as you get out of the shower, and your clothes coming out of the washing machine. I've had a water softener from Alamo Water Softeners in my home for years. Wouldn't live without one. If you're like me and already an Alamo Water Softeners customer, take advantage of their New Year special. Trade in or up on select systems and get up to a $400 credit. If you don't have a water softener from Alamo Water Softeners, you need to get one. They are the best value for the highest quality water treatment. In fact, on the Nextdoor app, Alamo Water Softeners was voted as a 2020 neighborhood favorite. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference. Go to alamowatersofteners.com. That's alamowatersofteners.com.
The ESPN San Antonio 10K Payday. This hour's winning word is
rug.
Enter that word now at ESPNSA.com. Another reason it pays to listen to ESPN San Antonio all day, every day.
Great cash, homie.
What the heck is going on in Houston?
You know, we've seen general managers or bosses in the private world that get brought in basically to clean house, start over, and go anew. And you realize there is a grander plan, and this guy is the hatchet guy that comes in. Maybe that's what Nick Caserio is for the Houston Texans. This team sucks right now. Statistically, that defense. What was the number that Greeny had on ESPN since ESPN has been ranking defenses? Their defense this year was 478 out of 480 over a 15-year period. And you have a quarterback that played a hell of a year individually statistically that only won 4 games, and you have no money and no picks. It is dumb to think that you have finally found the golden egg of a franchise quarterback, but your situation is so bad, there's nothing you can do to really fix it with him there. It makes no sense. But is that what the plan is ultimately?
The Blitz, weekdays 4 to 7, 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM. ESPN San Antonio wants you to kick off the new year with cash in your pocket with the 10K Payday.
Better than how last year started.
Listen every hour for the keyword, then enter it at ESPNSA.com to win.
Must be 18 years or older to play.
This contest is being conducted by a large number of Alpha radio stations nationwide, and one winner will be chosen. For complete details, visit ESPNSA.com. Another way it pays to listen to ESPN San Antonio all day, every day.
Let me tell you why I love my Spurs, man.
Game Night San Antonio, brought to you by the Mellow Mushroom.
This is Matt Bonner.
This is Manu Ginobili. Hi, this is DeJounte Murray. It's Game Night San Antonio.
Game Night San Antonio, brought to you by the Mellow Mushroom.
It's Game Night San Antonio, always brought to you by the Mellow Mushroom. Saturday the 30th, the San Antonio All-Star Football Game is around the corner. It's brought to you by HEB. Let's wave goodbye to the best high school seniors San Antonio has to offer there on the field. Jason will be on the call. You want to be there live? Get on the phone, 656-3776, 656-ESPN. We got a family 4-pack of tickets. Those ain't easy to get. And we're going to feed you with a Whataburger to go on the 30th. Jump on the phone, 656-3776, 656-ESPN. Caller number, James. We got to be out quick. Let's do caller number 10 to make it interesting. You're going to go see the San Antonio All-Star Football Game.
And here's the thing. Not only will I be on the call, and Danny.
Oh, that's right. Jill Jelnick going to be working the sidelines. I did not give credit where it was due. I'm not accustomed to having Jill on the regular, so I'm glad that she is here as we do Game Night San Antonio. Our sideline extraordinary.
For great weather on the 30th.
Yes, we are hoping for.
You know I am. I'm praying for great weather since I'm going to be running around those sidelines. So, yeah, I'm grateful to be invited to the party. Thanks, Rob.
Well, you are invited, and you will be on the sideline Saturday the 30th. You want to see her running around doing her job, you can get on the phone, caller number 10 to 656-3776-656 ESPN. Go check out the game live as we wave goodbye to the 2021 high school football season. The Spurs come in tonight, and one of the interesting things about the Spurs and the Warriors matchup is, and this is a very strange thing to say, the Spurs sit in first place in the Southwest Division. They are in 5th place in the West, and they're taking on the 7-6, 4th in the Pacific Golden State Warriors. They offer this unique, we know what the Golden State Warriors are, although there have been changes minus the Klay Thompson. But what the Spurs bring and makes it very difficult to scout is this remarkable balance of 4 or 5 guys that just kind of roll through in what seems like a pop feel, what seems to be working at any given time. And when you're dealing with that, it makes it very difficult to scout them. When you see Golden State tonight, what do you think is, apart from slowing Steph Curry down, which is, job number 1, that balance and that defensive pressure that they offer, what do the Spurs need to take away first from the Golden State Warriors? Knowing full well you're not taking away Steph. He's going to get his. But what can you take away?
Right. Aside from Steph, I think what the Spurs need to do is jump on the Warriors right away, set the tone from the beginning. And San Antonio has been doing an excellent job of setting the tone in the first quarter, continuing that fast pace, pushing the ball, moving the ball around, and then they just got to get their shooters going. And luckily for the Spurs, as you mentioned, Rob, that's 4 guys. That's 4 out of their 5 guys can get hot. That's what's so remarkable and tough about this Spurs team is that, okay, you can take away DeMar DeRozan, but you still have Keldon Johnson. You still have Patty Mills coming off the bench, who has been fantastic. And I think that might be the biggest difference between the Warriors and Spurs is, okay, the Spurs shut down Steph Curry, which their defense has improved. I think that's likely to happen. Then the Spurs can get settled and really get into a rhythm against Golden State.
It's interesting because I think of this Golden State team, and it feels like forever since they were the Golden State team that we're used to seeing, right? When we were up 25 in game 1 of the Western Conference Finals before Zaza came down on somebody's foot. Yeah, it just feels like Golden State is such a different team, but mentally, I still think that's the Golden State Warriors, and it's not.
Well, they proved that the other night against the Lakers when they had that 14-point comeback in the fourth quarter. Steph Curry obviously leading the way, but what does that show you? It shows you that they still have that heart, that mentality that we are the Golden State Warriors. And hey, we may not have Klay Thompson this year, but we're still going to be a problem. So you better believe Spurs aren't looking past them.
You look at the Warriors, and they offer a lineup that very much kind of mirrors what the Spurs can do. Of course, the separation with Steph Curry. When you talk about Kelly Oubre and Andrew Wiggins and Draymond Green, those are 3 essentially positionless players that work on the wings, that can go get and rebound, can make a 3, not quite to the clip that I think that Kerr would like, but they can, in fact, hit a 3. And then the separator there is James Wiseman, the big athletic post that, quite frankly, the Spurs do not have an answer for. Do you think we're going to see a lot of Pirtle and of LaMarcus on defense, or will this be more of a Rudy Gay kind of a game, defending a little bit more of a mobile big out on Draymond, and maybe not so many big shots from LaMarcus or Jakob because of the way they use Wiseman? Is this a Rudy Gay kind of a 5 game?
That's a really good question. And I'm interested to see the rotation, because you're right. They do have their size with Wiseman and then also Draymond Green. I can tell you this, Rob, Keldon Johnson is going to once again be asked a lot from him. He's been one of their best defenders so far this season. He's covered LeBron James, Christian Wood, Zion Williamson. He's covered the big guys, the big talented forwards. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Keldon on Draymond, if we see Keldon on Wiseman running around trying to shut them down while you're right, LA and Jakob cover the other big guy. As far as Rudy Gay goes, he was heating up the other night, Monday night. So him and Patty Mills, man, the 2 of them coming off the bench, if Rudy Gay can continue to find that consistency with that long distance ball, I think that would be huge, absolutely huge.
And I think to your point, Rob, if there's carryover from the last time we saw Rudy on the floor, if he picks up where he left off, it can be a Rudy Gay type of game, and that's going to be really good for the San Antonio Spurs. If he shows up and he's flat and out of gas, then the Spurs could be in trouble. I mean, it really might be, how does Rudy Gay play? Does that mean how the Spurs play?
The Spurs come into the game as healthy as they've been. They're not dealing with any new injuries, though Derek continues to be out and Quindary out as well. So they have a full spate of guys. And as you look at the Warriors tonight on the heels of what was a national TV embarrassment to when we saw the Spurs get flexed into a game against the team that Harden left and just get embarrassed and follow that up with a Portland win. Now, I think when I start talking about what other teams what other people are saying about my Spurs, the small market starts to come out. Does Pop want to elevate his players to kind of a national conversation, or is it and grow them into this, because it is going to come eventually, or is it better for the Spurs right now to stay below the radar, sneak up on some teams, have the Clippers and the Lakers not really expect a whole lot, and does a win tonight kind of catapult you into the type of team that you certainly have to prepare for?
Yes, yes to the win tonight, but going back to your other point, I think Spurs kind of taking on that underdog role, flying a little bit under the radar. Is that not so, Coach Pop? Prepping his team for national spotlight. Pop hates that stuff. He wants to avoid that stuff like the plague. He would much rather have his team be expecting the absolute best from everyone and needing to play the best of their ability just to survive. That mindset is Spurs right there. And when you have a young team, that is crucial. That's absolutely crucial.
It's interesting because I think, it's a 9:30 start. Both Steve Kerr and Greg Popovich are probably going to have very interesting non-basketball related pregame interviews with the media. And because it's Steph Curry, you talk about the national spotlight. Spurs are going to be in the first block of Sports Center, so they're going to be in that first segment. They don't often get into the first segment, and that's what pissed me off about the game against Houston. They led Sports Center because they were getting their ass kicked. But we know because it's Steph Curry, they're going to be in the first part of Sports Center tonight. The question is because they played well on Oakland's brand new court that they're going to debut against the San Antonio Spurs, or is it because Steph Curry runs them out of the gym? I just feel like every time we're on Sports Center as a lead story, it hasn't been good lately.
It's still early in the season, though. It's still early in the season. I would rather them fly under the radar now and succeed later.
What do we know about this new court? What exactly are they doing?
Well, it's one of those new courts. It's like the Nickelodeon thing that you can get slime,
lights up,
get close to their basket.
Well, I'm hoping
it spins. It looks like it's out of a nightclub. There's a couple areas that have pitfalls in it. It's just a new logo. It's kind of like our Spurs Fiesta one.
Oh, I thought they were doing something.
Yeah,
I thought they were doing something kind of high techy in the San Francisco way.
When the Spurs rebound, the court on the other end doubles, and when they rebound, it shortens, so they don't have to run as far. It's magic that they have there in Oakland.
Courage the Cowardly Dog pops out of the hoop.
Yes, there's all of that. SpongeBob is involved. You get it all.
In that brand new, beautiful building that is yet to meet capacity. You know what I mean? The season does begin. They've got a brand new floor. The Spurs taking on the Golden State Warriors tonight. It's going to be a 9:00 tip, kind of late. So if you're having to go crack some streams like I am, you got a little bit of time because
just change your
the
cable,
anger
man.
Just continues for me. I don't have access to it. I don't have access to the things that I need.
You've been dealing with this 2 years.
I got 1 minute to try to figure out. And by the way, if on Twitter, if you have an easier way for me to get to watch the game, please help. Please help.
And when he says easier, that means free. He doesn't want to.
Yes,
pay.
I don't want to dive in. And I was excited the other day when the Spurs were on the NBA TV, and I thought I don't have to go through the rigmarole or watching some kind of Russian broadcast of my Spurs team. And I go to the channel, and it's been blocked due to rights. Are you kidding me?
I'm sure somebody does it on Facebook Live in a foreign language. I mean, have fun with that. Subtitles. They're wonderful.
Hey, man, all I got to do is watch it. I got my friends on Facebook to throw it up illegally. Hey, she is Jill Jelnick from Sports2Nite. He is Jason Minnick, and I am Rob Thompson. James Pledger drove us all the way till 7 o'clock. Don't forget tomorrow, Thursday, Down for the Couch. Saturday morning, we got the hangover for you, and we got the Sports Grill on Sunday. Thanks for joining us tonight. We will see you tomorrow.
Tune in every Sunday morning from 11 to 1 for the Sunday Sports Grill. Hosted by last year's and this year's Rock the Mic champs, Michael Jimenez and Quinn Hudson. Every Sunday, 11 to 1. The Sunday Sports Grill. Chop it up and grill with former and current Rock the Mic champs Michael Jimenez and Quinn Hudson. Every Sunday, 11 to 1.